life for sure, and he's had 16 wins this year, which is a career high, over 200 innings, a career high, but he has raised the expectations because of that great year at 25, biggest game, 3 days rest. It's going to be a challenge. The fastball is his best pitch, and that might have a little edge off of it because of only 3 days rest.
Steve Phillips, this White Sox team so reliant on power in the home run ball.
Well, 233 home runs for the White Sox this year, leading all of Major League Baseball. To put it in perspective, the team's second home runs in the American League, the Detroit Tigers, with only 200 home runs. That's the good news for the White Sox. They can hit the ball out of the ballpark. The bad news is they're very reliant upon the home run. Over 47% of their runs have come from home runs this year. If, in fact, they make the playoffs, they will be the team that has the highest percentage of runs coming from the home run since 1969. They don't manufacture. They wait for a pitch they can hit to try to drive it out of the park. They're going to need some home runs today to support Gavin Floyd.
An added twist to this one, Freddie Garcia will be going against the White Sox for the Detroit Tigers. This is a guy who helped the White Sox win a World Series in 2005. He can keep them out of the 2008 postseason today. His opponent today will be the 16-game winner, Gavin Floyd. He has the ball in the biggest game of his career, game number 162 from the south side. The rains have stopped. We will play it, and it's coming your way right after this. Major League Baseball, Tigers and White Sox from U.S. Cellular Field in Chicago. It is dry, and the fans pumped up here. Certainly the Tigers are showing some life as well. Jim Leyland's team does have something to play for. If they lose today, they finish last in the American League Central all by themselves in what has been a hugely disappointing year. He will be back next season. Now for the Tigers, it's Curtis Granderson to lead things off. He's in center. Gary Sheffield is right on the edge of 500 homers. Maglio Ordonez and Miguel Cabrera, a pretty good 1-2 punch there. Cabrera with 127 RBIs.
I mean, you're talking about a guy in only his 5th full season at the Major League level, and 4 of those 5, 30-plus home runs. In all 5, 100 RBIs. He is a hitting machine.
They'll be taking on the right-hander Gavin Floyd. The White Sox 2008 season may well be in his right hand.
Fastball, curveball, slider change, but the addition of the slider or cutter and changeup have really made him the winning pitcher he is. The fastball and curveball have always been there, but the curveball is not a strike pitch as much as the other 2 he's added.
After the 2006 season, he was acquired from the Phillies in exchange for a player to be named later, and his opponent today, Freddie Garcia. First pitch in there for a strike, and we are underway. Granderson, a .282 hitter. Good power. He can get you a 1-0 lead. 61 degrees and dry, most importantly. After a lengthy rain delay here at U.S. Cellular Field, and the skies overhead are really clearing. That one lined in right to Konerko for round number 1. Defensively now, around Gavin Floyd for the White Sox, Wise, Griffey Jr. and Dye in the outfield. Cabrera has won a couple of Gold Gloves. Dye has won one as well, but Uribe's at third.
I take a look at Juan Uribe filling in for Joe Crede, injury, and he's been out for a while. And Uribe's really a guy who brings a lot of energy to this team. He's done a nice job filling in at third base. A guy who was almost released earlier this season.
Rain delay of 3 hours and 4 minutes before this one got underway. And here's Gary Sheffield batting out of the 2 spot. Second day in a row he's batting second.
You like power in the 2-hole if you're Jim Leyland. Tony La Russa, another one in that theory.
499 career home runs as he takes ball 1.
DHing today.
Like there's some thought to maybe he might squeak an extra at bat out and hit number 500 before the season ends.
Belted 2 on Friday night. Now Sheffield is signed through 2009 with Detroit. It has been a tumultuous year for him. He has been unhappy about the designated hitter role. He wants to play the field. And that one hit it. A glancing shot off Sheffield's leg, and he will take his base. So Floyd, a little wild, hits a batter, and that'll bring up Maglio Ordonez.
Can't be real exciting for Gary Sheffield to get hit in his legs. He's always had tender legs, and sit around for 3 hours and 4 minutes in a rain delay for a game that really doesn't mean a whole lot other than he's trying to hit his 500th home run. get plugged in there. A 2-0 fastball Gavin Floyd throws him, trying to get it on the inner half because Gary Sheffield on the inside part would probably pull that ball foul, trying to hit that 500th home run.
So Sheffield takes his base, and here comes Ordonez at 318. 21 homers. He's driven in 103 runs. And really cooking over the last 36 games. Over that span, hitting .331 with 32 runs batted in. Cabrera on deck. Gavin Floyd, 25 years old. Rocketed foul. Ordonez right on top of it.
A little first pitch changeup right there to Maglio. They're really capturing the emotion of the moment for Gavin Floyd right here. 3-hour rain delay. You're pitching the biggest game of your life. You're in a 2-0 count to Gary Sheffield. You overthrow a fastball and hit him, and now you've got Maglio up there. The Tigers are free and easy today. Freddie Garcia pitching for a lot here today for himself.
Now you've been in that same boat more than once in your career where you're trying to kill 2-3 hours, sometimes longer during a rain delay. What do you do?
Well, as a starting pitcher, you do a lot of relaxing, and then you try and time your meals. But the great thing about, near the end of my career, they came up with the energy bar. That might sound a little silly, but we didn't have energy bars or health food in the early 80s when I broke in. And then all of a sudden, we got a lot better with our diet and the energy bars and different good foods around the locker room. It kept you from having those energy lulls waiting in these rain delays.
Back when you played, you guys just sat around and listened to the radio, right? You didn't have TV back then.
Oh, we had 8 tracks.
Did you?
Yeah, 8 tracks. And some guys brought in their stereo system. We listened to 33s and had little 45s with the disc with the adapter.
I've heard about those.
Yeah.
Some of us still have those 8 tracks lying around.
Yeah.
The 0-2 pitch to Ordonez. Sheffield holding it first.
Now, throughout this 3-hour delay we had, there were windows where we thought, you know what, it's stopping.
Right.
And a lot of times what happens in the clubhouse, somebody will come in and say it's starting to slow down. And as a pitcher, you can start to say, okay, I better start ramping up and getting my emotions going a little bit. And then they say, well, wait, you know what, it's raining again. How does that affect you?
Well, you have to trust your pitching coach and your manager, and you really get on a close communication with them because those rumors can drive you crazy.
Sheffield runs the pitch into the dirt and bobbled by Przynski. No throw. Sheffield quickly into second on a stolen base.
Well, this is something that Gavin Floyd is going to have to improve upon as he moves forward in his career. That's the 35th stolen base against him this year with only 5 caught stealing. You're talking about a Detroit Tigers team that doesn't run. Gary Sheffield, 8 stolen bases this year, gets kind of a moving start. He has momentum going. As a pitcher, you need to make the runner stop and not continue movement through the bag.
Well, 35 is a lot for this is his 33rd start.
And the Detroit Tigers,
back in.
I mean, the Tigers have the fewest stolen bases in the major leagues, but Jim Leyland's looking at it. He's going to play it straight. He wants to win this game. So don't be surprised if he exploits whatever weaknesses the White Sox put on the field. And one of those weaknesses is the fact that Gavin Floyd does not hold runners well, and he has a very slow kick to the plate.
So the Tigers a base hit away from getting the jump on Chicago. 1 man out. You're talking about one of the top RBI men in the game. The crowd certainly wanted that. The umpires in the stands thought it was in the strike zone. 3-2.
Well, the breaking ball is going to be a big pitch for Gavin Floyd today because the Tigers, free and easy, are going to love to hit the fastball. Probably didn't take their batting practice just as careful as normal, so they're going to look for something straight and hard.
The dribbler foul.
And he'll be able to really go after them with the changeup, the curveball, and the slider, because I think at times when they see the ball out of his hand, they're going to be anxious, and he's going to be able to really fool them on those other pitches.
Floyd facing Maglio Ordonez, the number 5 hitter in the American League. He flares that one foul on the right field line.
Back in spring training, Jim Leyland was trying to decide how to align his hitters in this lineup. There was a lot of talk, well, Miguel Cabrera should bat 3rd in front of Maglio Ordonez. But what Jim Leyland said is, you know what, I can't do that because Maglio Ordonez drives in runs with a lot of singles to right field. Miguel Cabrera doesn't run very well and ultimately will get held up at 3rd base and not score in those situations, which is why he has Cabrera behind Ordonez.
Got him. nasty down and in at 91 to strike him out. A huge K there for Gavin Floyd.
Let's take a look at K-zone, especially the relationship and the movement on this pitch. Great depth. It's the same type of fastball that hit Sheffield on the knee. This one starts more in the middle of the plate, and you see that ball dive down and in. Unbelievable movement for a ball that looks like it's right down the middle in a 3-2 count, and to get that kind of depth on that pitch.
It was interesting because A.J. Brzezinski set up right over the heart of the plate, and he let the movement work by itself as opposed to starting on the corner where the movement would take it off the plate.
It's almost like playing a golf shot in the wind, where you aim for one area, but you expect it to take it back to the middle of the green.
You saw by those numbers, he expects to do well against Detroit. But here comes Miguel Cabrera, 127 RBIs during the regular season.
I think one thing with Gavin Floyd and monitoring and looking after the running game is he doesn't understand the situation. With one out, he didn't pay attention to Sheffield on first. Now with two out and a man on second, it doesn't matter if he steals third now. Just leave him alone. Get the hitter out.
0-1. Well, unless Jermaine Dye has a huge day, this man, Cabrera, has won the American League home run crown with 37. Dye has 34 coming into play today. Trying to hold up, and he did. It was interesting there. It was Cabrera who was pointing down at the first base umpire. Like, I want an appeal. Did I swing or didn't I? 1-1 the count. Two down. Sheffield at second, just getting started. Quite late, over 3 hours, the rain delay. The White Sox trying to live to play another day. To short. Cabrera retires. Cabrera. Floyd with a good breaking ball to get Miguel Cabrera, and despite the hit batsman, he survives. Freddie Garcia, long history with the White Sox, trying to beat them. White Sox coming up for the first time against Freddie Garcia. The White Sox and the Twins have not been separated by more than 2.5 games since July 27th. And here's a look at the White Sox lineup. It'll be Orlando Cabrera, followed by Dwayne Wise, who's now in left, and Jermaine Dye, really a go-to guy for Ozzie Guillen.
He really is the quiet leader of this team. He's come up with so many big hits for them, and he's a guy you have to look to try to get somebody on base in front of him. You see the 34 home runs. He can hit one and take it out deep if he gets a fastball to drive.
Ken Griffey Jr. in there in center field and trying to get to postseason play. The right-hander Freddie Garcia, 1-1, an ERA of 4.50, and the first pitch will miss for ball one to Orlando Cabrera.
Now Freddie is really pitching for a lot here today. It's only his 5th start of the year, 3rd start in the big leagues, coming back from shoulder surgery. And it may not mean anything to the Tigers today. They want to win, but for Freddie Garcia, he's probably got the 3rd most on the line. First the White Sox, then the Minnesota Twins, and then Freddie Garcia looking for a job for next year.
In for a strike on Cabrera, 283, 8 homers, 57 runs batted in. Freddie Garcia, close friend of fellow Venezuelan Ozzie Guillen. He's trying to beat him today. He's married to Ozzie's wife's niece. He won 3 games for Ozzie and the White Sox during Chicago's 2005 playoff run, including the World Series clincher in Game 4 at Houston. And Cabrera is on. So the leadoff man quickly aboard at first on ball 4. Garcia had a big hand in that.
Nicknamed Big Game Freddie at that time, and he always seemed, even if he was pitching poorly at the time, he figured out a way to beat you. But from watching those first few pitches to Cabrera, he is a different pitcher now. 89-mile-an-hour fastball topping out, and the shoulder looks a little stiff to me. He's going to have to locate.
Here's Dwayne Wise, 260, half a dozen home runs, showing bunt. He takes a ball.
See, I think that's very interesting right there. Ozzie Guillen playing to try to get a runner in scoring position in the first baseman and get a lead. Remember, we talked about power in this lineup. They tend not to manufacture runs, but with Dwayne Wise in the lineup, he allows Ozzie Guillen the flexibility to try some things. Bunt, hit and run, put the runner in motion.
Well, you would think right there, maybe you talk about hitting and running or maybe a bunt, but you know, right there, I'm thinking Ozzy's going to make him throw strikes at first, because one of the things when you put the hit and run on is you want to make sure you have a pitcher that's going to throw a ball over the plate. So you're not only looking for the right combination between hitter and runner, you're looking for the right combination between hitter, runner, and pitcher to possibly get a strike.
Well, Ozzy says of his old pal, Freddie is going to try to beat us. He's going to try and show us he can still pitch. The 2-0. That is in for a strike. Jermaine Dye on deck. Now, Wise is the guy filling in for Carlos Quentin in left field. Quentin, the MVP candidate, with the cracked bone in his right wrist when he went on the DL. He had 36 home runs. Many were talking about Quentin as the most valuable player, at least the lead candidate in that race.
And what a great pickup he was from Arizona. I mean, they hardly gave up anything. And he came out of, off of injuries last year, just wasn't productive for the Diamondbacks. But man, he was so good for this team, and they're still holding out some level of hope that maybe, just maybe, he'll be back sometime in October if they can get there.
Been swinging a broom handle and trying some baseball-related activities. Here comes the 2-1 pitch from Garcia. Now 3-1. Quentin fit in beautifully into the slugging offense. See what they've done without him. They have suffered 12-19 and the runs going down. They lost 10 out of 15 in a crucial stage here in September. They had lost 5 in a row before pulling out a win yesterday to make today necessary. And that is outside for ball 4. Garcia has walked the first 2 White Sox today. Just a reminder what is at stake. White Sox with a victory will force a 1-game playoff against the Minnesota Twins here tomorrow afternoon. They lose and the Twins win the Central and go on to Tampa Bay for Game 1 Thursday afternoon.
The Twins had to be sitting around waiting for this game to get started, watching and wondering what's going to happen here and where they're going to go. If they're going to have to come here or get on a plane to head down to Florida, so they're waiting to get some answers.
How about this bizarre set of circumstances? That's Chuck Hernandez, the pitching coach of the Tigers, although he's not anymore. He was fired yesterday. He has to finish out the season. He doesn't have a job with the Detroit Tigers after today.
A very classy move that he and Jeff Jones, the bullpen coach, both were let go to come here and still coach this game. They could easily said, you know what, we're done. You let us go, and just stayed home. But very classy man, very good pitching coach, just caught in the wrong storm.
Well, here's Dye as he takes a strike. 290, 34 homers, 95 runs batted in. He's coming off a very hot series against Cleveland. He went 6 for 12, drove in 6 runs and homered twice. So he is seeing the ball very, very well. He has Cabrera at second and Wise at first and nobody out. Trying to hold up, but he went on the swing, says Mike DeMuro, and the count moves to 0-2.
I thought it was interesting that on a 3-1 count that Ozzie Guillen didn't have Orlando Cabrera running last time up with Wise at the plate. I mean, you figure if he puts it in play, you stay out of the double play, and you still get him in scoring position with Jermaine Dye up. So a little conservative on the bases.
Up the middle for a base hit. Cabrera into third, rounding. He'll come on in to score, and the White Sox strike first. They lead it 1-0. Now, Dye had a clutch 2-run single in the 7th inning yesterday, and he jumps on Freddie Garcia in the 1st inning here today in game 162.
Well, an 0-2 pitch, it's actually better than the 0-1 pitch. Remember the breaking ball in the dirt. This one doesn't reach. It's an actual strike in K zone. So you didn't make the pitch you really wanted to. And Freddie Garcia today is going to have to live on the edges. The stuff doesn't look sharp enough or firm enough to really live in the middle of the plate, and especially not throwing an 0-2 pitch for a strike.
Still nobody out. First and second for Chicago. Here's Jim Thome, who has hit 33 home runs this season and driven in 89 runs. and one of the premier home run hitters of his generation. 2 on. 1-0.
I think a lot of times pitchers coming off of injury tell you how they feel by the use of their fastball. The average major league pitcher throws 63% fastballs. Freddie Garcia's only throwing at 43% since in his first 2 starts back to the major leagues.
Fastball in there for a strike. One of the reasons he's even pitching today has much to do with Ozzie Guillen, doesn't it?
I'm sure it does. I mean, there's obviously the relationship there, and there was a time, I guess, during the summer earlier this year that they actually had dinner, and Ozzie came out of it saying he didn't think Freddie Garcia was going to pitch.
Fouled back 1-2.
And he came out later and said, I don't think he's going to be ready. I don't think he's in shape to pitch. And Freddie Garcia was upset by that. He's like, and his agents were. They were like, no, wait, he is going to pitch. He's going to go out and throw for different clubs. Scouts are going to watch him. But I think Freddie Garcia came away from Ozzie saying that, saying, you know what, I'm going to prove to you that I can pitch at the major league level, and he's got a chance to end their season.
Well, they remain great friends. Ozzie said he got about 20 text messages from Freddie the other day when it was determined Garcia would make the start against the White Sox. A check swing low. That evens the count 2-2.
Yeah, we didn't have text messaging back when I broke in either, Steve.
No.
That wasn't next to my 8 tracks.
You had to get out and crank up the car, too, didn't you?
Exactly. Yeah. And we left our gloves on the field for the opposing team to use.
The 3-finger glove.
2-2, he checks again. Good eye by Tommy. He refuses to help Garcia out. Garcia's walked 2 in the inning.
It's going to be huge key. Already action down there in the bullpen for Detroit, so they're not taking this game lightly, whether it's Freddie Garcia or whoever.
Galarraga getting going down there immediately. So Jim Leyland doesn't look like he's going to wait around on Garcia to fix his own problems. Swung on and missed. Tommy goes down on an off-speed pitch at 84. He strikes out.
Went to the 3-2 changeup right there, and that's what the White Sox want to do is try to get themselves in a hitter's count. And you take a look at K-zone. Jim Thome's looking fastball, and here comes the changeup. Thome way out in front. He saw fastball out of the hand, and because of the grip, he gets changeup, the change in velocity, some movement. He's out in front, swings over the top.
1 man out for Paul Konerko, who is spending lots of time on the bench in midsummer, but now he is probably their biggest threat. He homered yesterday for the 4th time in the last 3 games. First and second, 1 away. 1-0. Ken Griffey Jr. on deck. Konerko and Garcia won that World Series together in 2005. Konerko says of the Tigers, I'm sure the last thing they wanted to do is get on a plane and come here, but they're professionals. If I were them and I had to do that, I'd want to make it hurt. And he said we better be ready to play, and they look like they are. That's in for a strike. 1-1.
That was Garcia's best fastball right there. 92 on the black. Most of his fastballs have been missing, and this one 92. That was normally 89 and near the middle or low. Quality pitch right there.
The 1-1 pitch to Konerko. Breaking ball outside. Steve mentioned the White Sox led the majors this season in homers. Nobody else in the American League hit more than 200. White Sox with 233.
141 of those here at U.S. Cellular. 40 home runs in their last 19 home games. So certainly the friendly confines here at U.S. Cellular Field.
Fly to left. Thames on the move near the line will make the catch. The runners will retreat to first and second. 2 down. Well, the home run, that is what the White Sox success is certainly built on. They don't run a whole lot. They're a very good home club, primarily because of what Steve mentioned, all the home runs they hit here. And 233 to top the majors. Phillies, of course, the champions of the National League East. And the Brewers there with 198. What a great finish for Milwaukee. Ryan Braun and CC Sabathia coming up huge on the final day of the season. And the Milwaukee Brewers are into postseason play. Here's Ken Griffey Jr. at 254 with 3 home runs since the deal from Cincinnati, and he will ground out. So Garcia buckles down, and after walking the first 2 and giving up a base hit to the 3rd man in the inning, he allows only 1 run. We're on to the 2nd in Chicago. Well, White Sox probably feel like they ought to have more runs, but they do have a 1-0 lead over Detroit into the 2nd inning. It'll be Thames, Ryan Rayburn, and Inge against Gavin Floyd. Thames at 244. He has hit 25 home runs, and he's done that in just 102 games. Got jammed there and fought it off for strike 1.
So that is that typical pitch that we said, the fastball that the Tigers are probably going to jump on, but Gavin Floyd's got such outstanding movement on his fastball. That could be a huge weapon for him today.
6'5", about 230, and in there for a strike on Thames.
Oh, does that run settle down a starting pitcher? When you're in a game that's do or die and you get that 1 run up there, now 1 pitch can't beat you. It is so comforting to know that you can let it go now.
Did he offer? He did. Tim McClellan rings him up. Strike 3. Thames fans, 1 man out in the 2nd. Division series coming up. And we invite you to join Major League Baseball in its efforts to help victims of the devastation caused by Hurricane Ike by donating to the Gulf Coast Ike Relief Fund. Just log on to www.ghcf.org, and together we can make a difference. Oral Hershiser, Steve Phillips, Dave O'Brien with you here from U.S. Cellular Field on the south side of Chicago, which is hopeful. The city is of getting 2 teams into postseason play. Cut on and missed there by Ryan Rayburn, the 2nd baseman. He's a .230 hitter with 4 home runs.
Rayburn getting the start, plays to Placido Polanco. Polanco with an ankle injury, unable to go today. Has one of those inflatable boots on that ankle.
Rayburn, 27 years old, out of Tampa, Florida. He's shown some decent power in the minor leagues, although he will strike out a lot. You talk about the lineup, it's a break for the White Sox. Edgar Renteria is out. Polanco is out. No Carlos Guillen as well. They're all nursing injuries. Not playing for Detroit today.
And head-to-head, Placido Polanco hitting .381 against Floyd. Renteria hitting .357, and Carlos Guillen hitting .316. And those guys have a lot of at-bats. There's some track record there.
Ramirez to his right. Fine rookie second baseman throws him out.
You know, the Twins might look at it and say, boy, we really wish those guys would be in there. But sometimes in games like this, role players or guys who are fighting for attention from the organization are better to have in the lineup. They're scarier at bats because they're going up there trying to prove something still on the 162nd game of the regular season.
So Rayburn grounds out. That sends up the 3rd baseman Brandon Inge. Just a .203 average with 11 home runs. He just came off a miserable homestand against Kansas City and Tampa Bay. He went 2 for 20 on that homestand for the Tigers.
Steve, you are so right about having the kind of the spare parts in there, because that's what you see some of these inflated number in spring training games. You have veteran pitchers pitching against guys that are trying to make an impact. The veteran pitcher's not really trying yet. He's getting in shape, and he's going against a lineup of kids that want to just kill it to make an impression on the general manager and the manager.
2-1, 2 men out, bases empty. Floyd looking for a quick 2nd inning here. Could not hold up. That evens the count 2-2.
Well, that slider is very effective. I mean, we talked about the curveball from Gavin Floyd, and it is a good one. But this slider has been the thing he's gone to early in this game against the right-handed hitters.
Got him. He struck him out. His 3rd K in the ball game. Floyd looking very sharp in the 2nd inning. Looking for more offensive help out of Alexei Ramirez, the outstanding youngster. He will lead it off when we come back. These folks want to come back here tomorrow and see more baseball. The only way that happens is if the White Sox pull out a victory here in game number 162 over the Tigers and force a 1-game playoff against Minnesota. The Twins are back in Minnesota watching this ball game as we speak, wondering where are they headed. Are they coming to Chicago, or are they going to head on down to Florida? Again, looking pretty loose at this point. One of the reasons why is this young guy, the second baseman, Alexei Ramirez, 288 for the rookie, 20 homers, 73 driven in, 27-year-old right-hand hitter from Cuba. Just 2 years ago, he was Cuba's center fielder in the inaugural World Baseball Classic, and today he's one win away for the Major League postseason, perhaps, as the starting second baseman for Chicago White Sox. Well, 2 wins away today, and it would have to be tomorrow as well. Although I guess you technically have to call, if it happens tomorrow, a playoff game.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Twins are in the air right now flying to Chicago. Find out the results when you land here, and then either get on a bus, go to the hotel, or get back on the plane and go down to Florida. I mean, as long as this game was delayed, it probably put a real crimp in their plans.
Sure did. Popped him up. Granderson is there and makes the grab for the out. Talking about that division series coming up on Wednesday. Here's a look at the schedule. At 3 o'clock, Brewers and Phillies get it started. These games on TBS and ESPN radio. And of course, the Twins, we understand, are there still in Minnesota. Trying to figure out who they're going to play. The Dodgers and the Cubs will go after it Thursday night at 9:30. Joe Torre has his team in the playoffs as the first-year manager of the Dodgers. What a great lift he got from Manny Ramirez in the second half.
Unbelievable. I mean, enough of a lift to even consider Manny as an MVP candidate. I mean, it's been an unbelievable season. There are some who think Manny Ramirez got 2 teams to the playoffs by leaving the Boston Red Sox and by going to the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Brzezinski, who's scuffling lately, fouls that one away. I want to ask you about both of those. Steve, if you had your vote for the National League MVP, would you vote for Manny Ramirez? And I also want to ask Earl about Cy Young and CC Sabathia. Is he your choice? What do you think about Manny?
I think Manny's had a great season. He's the Dodgers' most valuable player, but I don't think you can vote for a guy for 2 months of a season as most valuable player, especially when you look at the year Albert Pujols has had. You look at the year Ryan Howard has had. Manny's been great, but I don't think he can go there.
Yeah, and CC Sabathia, I think he'll get some votes for Cy Young, and he'll also get some votes for MVP, I think, also, with what he's done with the Milwaukee Brewers, because there's no way Milwaukee is in there without CC Sabathia. But you can't discount, Brandon Webb getting 20 wins, and again, the same point as Steve, for 2 months or a month and a half, I don't think you can give a guy the award.
In both cases, though, you look at those teams and say they're not in the playoffs without those performances.
That's a general manager's dream come true. You make a deal at the trade deadline, and that guy has that significant an impact that doesn't always happen that way, but boy, when it does, it sure pays off.
After Brzezinski strikes out, here comes Juan Uribe. Goes after the very first pitch and skies it foul off third. Inge near the tarp, leaps, and may have made a terrific catch. He did. Outstanding play by Brandon Inge as he went into the crowd, tiptoeing around that tarp, and he hauled it in. Inge, who will be back there as the everyday third baseman next season, have made that announcement. One of the reasons why. Best play of the day so far here in Chicago. Tigers coming up. White Sox have the 1-0 lead. It's on to the third inning. Dusty Ryan, Ramon Santiago, and Curtis Granderson up against Gavin Floyd, who really seemed to pull it together after hitting Gary Sheffield on the right leg with a pitch in the first inning and then allowing a stolen base. They don't have a hit off him yet. Ryan at .317 with 2 home runs. He's a September call-up, made his major league debut on September 4th. He had a 4-hit game a couple of weeks later at Texas. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ryan, between triple and double A, did hit 17 home runs. So some power there, but he comes up empty. 1-2 the count.
He's always been thought of as kind of a catch and throw sort of a catcher, but this year the offensive numbers stepped up a little bit. Talk about the 17 home runs. The most he had hit before that was 6 in a season. So the development is coming.
2-2. What a disappointing season. Hugely disappointing for these Tigers. They're just about everybody's pick. All the free agent signings to win this division. Today they could finish in the basement. It's going to be a long, cold, lonely winter for the Tigers.
Well, their starting pitching really went in the tank, and then their bullpen never came around, and injuries to regulars and a lot of parts that didn't fit.
Shortstop on a charge. Cabrera off balance. Nicely done. to retire Ryan. Let's break down the two starters today.
I'll tell you what, movement and fastball is going to get you through a game, and Gavin Floyd has outstanding depth. You want to talk about a hard sinker? Watch this at home. See the depth on that sinker? That gives you a lot of room for error and can get you swing and misses. Then Freddie Garcia, at 32 years old, shoulder surgery coming back. Can't really stay on top of it as long. He gets a little bit of a tail and less velocity. As Freddie gets farther and farther from his surgery, he might get his good sink back and velocity.
Santiago with the pop-up. Uribe and Cabrera giving chase. It's over that tarp, which we hope stays right there for the rest of the day after a 3-hour rain delay.
Now, Oral, Freddie Garcia had shoulder problems. You went through some shoulder issues as well. How long does it take a pitcher to come back from that sort of an injury?
Well, you can pitch probably between 11 and 13 months, at least for mine was a reconstruction, but you really don't feel like yourself again, or really get on top of the ball and do what you want pitching-wise for about 2 years. I would say 23, 24 months. So, Dr. Job, who did my surgery, told me that I wouldn't be completely pain-free and feel like myself again for at least 22 months or so, and it took me almost 2 years.
Pulled foul by Santiago.
But I was pitching in the big leagues, you know, within 13 months.
But, you know, a lot of the guys with shoulder problems, from what I've understood, it's that last little bit of proprioception, that last little bit of fine motor skill to manipulate the ball to put it where you want. So velocity may start to come back, but that little bit of command to put the ball on the corner is the issue.
Yeah, the fine tuning is the last thing that comes, and that's what you can see with Freddie Garcia when he's on the mound. He's got decent big league velocity, 89 to 92, but exactly pinpointing it right now and getting that exact finish and extension to get the finish on the ball in the strike zone, it's a little bit late right yet.
2-2, got a piece of it back to the net. Granderson on deck.
You watch Gavin Floyd on the mound at 25 years old. That's an arm who doesn't have all the wear and tear. This is his first year with 200 innings plus. Is still free and easy, big and strong, going on 3 days rest. That's what Freddie Garcia used to do.
6'5", 230. Still 2-2.
And I pitched till I was 43 years old, and Freddie's only 32, so you don't write him off, but this is a part in his career that he's going to have to really work through to find people to give him an opportunity like the Tigers to really fine-tune the delivery again with the post-surgically repaired shoulder.
Pulled again, foul, but hit stiff by Santiago.
Now, how tough is it, you know, like, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. He's going to have to try to work to get himself back into shape. If you're part of an organization rehabbing an injury, isn't that easier to do?
Well, it is, because you have exactly the whole medical staff around you, which you supplied great with the Mets. It's fantastic. Even in the offseason, they're there to help you. When you have to go seek that out by yourself and motivate yourself and not have that contract and teammates and trainers around you, it's a lot harder.
Griffey coming on. Santiago retired. 2 up and 2 down. Hey, Monday night, 2 AFC North Division rivals will fight it out between the lines at Heinz Field. Ray Lewis and the Ravens trying to slow down Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Monday Night Football on ESPN at 8:30 Eastern. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown delivered by UPS. Nobody on base here, and Granderson the hitter. Man who's going to lead the American League in triples with 13. He is 0 for 1 today with a line drive to first.
This was another big part of the Tiger lineup why they didn't get off to a hot start. You know, Granderson being hurt the first month of the season. This is a catalyst, not only with the ability he brings to the field, but the person that he is and the energy he brings.
Despite that, scoring 112 runs for the season coming in at second in the American League behind Boston's MVP candidate Dustin Pedroia.
He's some kind of player, and he's some kind of person. We had him in studio last year for Baseball Tonight. What a first-class young man. I mean, I tell you, his parents did a nice job, because he is some kind of classy kid. Intelligent, understands the game, and understands how to treat people.
Also has a blog on ESPN.com, which is very popular. Another thing that they didn't have in Oral's day in the clubhouse.
We didn't have spell check either. That's why I never had a blog back then, even though they didn't exist.
I think Al Gore hadn't invented the internet back then, right?
Not yet.
Thank goodness for spell check, by the way. Some of us, we prefer to spell creatively. 3 balls and 1 strike. 2 men out.
Texting has put spelling out the window. You can use whatever letters you want.
True enough. That one ran up and in. It's ball 4. And so Granderson with very good speed is on here, representing the tying run for Detroit with 2 away in the 3rd. So Floyd has walked a batter. He's hit another. And now the man he plunked, Gary Sheffield, will dig in. That happened in the 1st inning. Sheffield got some measure of revenge by stealing second base. Now, they changed out the baseballs there in the umpire's pocket. So my guess is, I think this is right, that those are the specially marked balls for number 500 for Gary Sheffield.
Hall of Fame, Gary Sheffield.
What do you think? Well,
it's going to be. Is there anybody with 500 that's not in?
Rafael Palmeiro, but he's not qualified to be in yet.
McGuire.
But giant questions for steroid use for those two. In the court of public opinion, no question at all, I think.
And Rafael Palmeiro, 3,000 hits and 500 home runs.
Sammy Sosa.
Sammy Sosa will be.
We don't know. Palmeiro and Sosa still not eligible for consideration. A couple more years for them. But does 500 home runs still mean what it used to? I think that's the big issue.
If the writers think that's going to be the finish line, we've got Jim Thome in this game.
Manny Ramirez
Ken Griffey
went
Jr.
past
is going to go in
year.
for sure.
Ken Griffey Jr. of course with over 600.
Was he at 634?
610, just past Sammy Sosa.
611.
Sheffield still with that quick bat. There goes Granderson. The pitch is strike. The throw won't get him. And Granderson is into scoring position with the theft. They are going after Floyd. As you pointed out, he is easily one of those easy pitchers to run on in the game.
Yeah, the long leg kick, the deliberate leg kick, doesn't really give AJ a shot at him at all. AJ does everything he can to get the ball down there, but just trying to be overly quick. He doesn't make it as accurate as possible.
The 1-1 to Sheffield will miss. 2 balls, 1 strike.
As you want your pitcher to be 1.3 seconds or less. And my internal clock by watching Gavin Floyd, he's probably 1.45, 1.5 seconds to the plate. That's not good enough because you're looking at a catcher, if he's a good throwing catcher, probably 2 seconds from catching the ball to his release and getting the ball to second base. 3.5 seconds combined. Any good base stealer is going to make it in easily.
Fouled back right underneath us.
I don't know. You guys were kind of.
I was thinking about catching it.
You guys were ducking out of the way.
It got so close.
You guys both kind of scurried away over there. But I
forgot if these were safety goggles or not.
Gary Sheffield's going to want that pitch back again because that's the pitch he's got a chance to hit number 500. You guys didn't see it, but it was a pretty good pitch to hit.
2 down. Crowd eager for a strikeout of Gary Sheffield. Granderson at second. Breaking ball got him on the inside corner. Sheffield gave up on it. And Floyd strikes him out. He has already made a couple of giant pitches in this ball game. The tying run stranded at second base. Still the White Sox on top here. 1-0 over Detroit. The Chicago White Sox snapped a 5-game losing skid on Sunday just in the nick of time. They need to win today to force a 1-game playoff for the Central Division title tomorrow here in Chicago with Minnesota. Here's Orlando Cabrera as he looks at a strike. He walked and scored the first and only run in the opening inning against Freddie Garcia. Cabrera, guy, has really moved around, but has a reputation as an outstanding player. Stings that one into left. Thames is there to haul it in. Played for Montreal, Boston, the Angels, and the White Sox, all since 2004. But he has been at odds with his teammates this season and with Ozzie Guillen at times. Cabrera called out the White Sox for not knowing how to win. They were in the process of dropping 10 out of 15 during one recent stretch. He's also been criticized for calling up to the press box and debating whether he made an error or not with the official scorer. Wise will pop up. 2 fast outs here for the White Sox in the 3rd inning, and Dye is on the way up next.
Well, it's not a way to really be popular in the clubhouse, calling your teammates out in the paper and unless you are used to being the leader in the clubhouse, and there's a lot of other leaders other than him here. And I think the frustration of calling the press box on the air is because his glove has started to deteriorate a little bit. The bat is still there, but it's the wrong place to call out your team when that's your manager.
Made 15 errors. His die takes ball 1. He has an RBI single in this one.
Here's the issue I have with it. You have a manager who calls out his players in the paper. And my opinion is teams take on the personality of the manager, and what he does gives the players permission. So if he does it, they feel like they can do it too. And I think that's a little bit of what we saw with Orlando Cabrera.
Maybe, but Tommy Lasorda called us out at times, and I didn't then think that I all of a sudden could go after my teammates. I took care of it on the bus, on the airplane, around the food room.
Ripped into left. Thames will make the grab. He's been very busy out there in left field. 1, 2, 3 they go, and the best inning so far for Freddie Garcia. Due up for the Tigers, some big bats, Ordonez, Cabrera, and Marcus Thames. Oh, Grandpa has the patience of Job, doesn't he? Someone's out of school and hopped up on cotton candy. But at the ballpark where it's 1-0, White Sox leading the Tigers, do or die for Chicago. On a day where the rain finally ended, we had a rain delay of 3 hours and 4 minutes. White Sox needing to win to force a 1-game playoff. They're a half game behind Minnesota. This is a makeup game from a postponed game, a rained out game back in the middle of September. Magli Ordonez at 317, 0 for 1 today with a strikeout. Gavin Floyd really looking locked in here. He has struck out 4 over the first 3 innings.
The good fastball movement has been a put away pitch. It's also been a good pitch to get ahead with, and then the addition of the changeup and the slider to his repertoire. There's the curveball. Think about just the fastball and that curveball. That's really not a called strike curveball. But Don Cooper, the pitching coach for the White Sox, when he got here, said, I need to add something to this repertoire to get you back into counts and off-speed pitches that you can throw for strikes. Added the slider and the changeup, and away we went. Going for our 17th win tonight.
16-8, a 3.91 ERA.
Gavin Floyd came up first with the Philadelphia Phillies. He really lacked confidence in his stuff and failed a little bit. Got sent to the minor leagues again.
3-2.
Then came over in the trade and even struggled a little bit here. But what you could see during the course of the year, once he got his confidence with his breaking stuff, he got himself back on track. And that is such a major factor for young pitchers breaking into the big leagues.
Cold and foul.
What comes first, success or confidence?
Yes.
And some people, you need some success at every level, then you gain your confidence and you become that bulldog, that fighter on the mound. And then others, they come confidently, and sometimes those guys need to be taught a little bit more about the game because they're just so confident.
Through for a base hit. Uribe went lunging and missed it. So Ordonez becomes the first man to come up with a hit today against Gavin Floyd. Let's go back to Thursday and the walk-off. Garcia as he bloops it into center field, and once again the White Sox with their hearts broken in 10 innings as the Twins win it 7-6. And Minnesota celebrating like they had just won the pennant.
What a series that was. To know that you had to sweep and to do it, especially in that dome. I'm sure it was really loud.
And so Minnesota has the half-game lead as Cabrera takes ball 1. He's 0 for 1 today.
Twins players had the right approach on that. They went into it saying 1 game at a time. Let's win this one, and then we'll figure it out from there. And you see what it's done for them, putting them a half game up coming into play today.
Twins watching from Minnesota as we speak. And a charter aircraft getting ready to take them either here to Chicago or to Florida. The runner goes as it's fouled back by Cabrera.
If they get a man on first, he's going to be running. I don't care which one of the 9 you want to say of a Tiger is going to be on first base. Gavin Floyd keeps up that 1-4, 1-5 delivery and really only one looking. He's going to be dealing with people on second base immediately when somebody gets on first.
We're at game 162. He's given up 36 stolen bases. At what point doesn't he realize that he has to make an adjustment? Right?
There's got to be some head softener somewhere.
Granderson and Sheffield have already stolen bases off him. Runner holding here. And it's fly to center. Ken Griffey Jr. coming on. And time to make the catch for out number 1. Now, Orel, at this point in a season, in a career, he's only 25 years old, but obviously he's not quick to home plate. He's easy to run on. What can you do to change?
Yeah, there's lots of different things that you can do to teach a guy. And, you know, everybody talks about the slide step around baseball. I'm not in big favor of that. You can slide step, but I really like preload, where the things that you do once you pick your leg up that make you slow, preload a few of those things, whether it's weight on the back leg, the shoulder turn, where your head position is.
Here's Thames as he takes a strike.
A lot of guys stay slow because they feel like when they go fast, they don't have the great stuff on the mound. See his motion here. He has a lot of things to load and to turn before he goes home. Maybe he can preload some of those things in the set position, so then he can be quicker to home and also feel like he has all his velocity and all his movement and all his location.
So what you're saying is break down a delivery from when he picks up his foot, and whatever he does during that, start somewhere in the middle of that process.
Yes. Preload some of those things as you're coming to your set position.
Hammer to short. Cabrera into Ramirez. Got one. They turn 2. Thames hits into an inning-ending 6-4-3. Floyd says, I won't worry about base runners. I'll just get them to hit into the twin killing. 1-0. White Sox still on top in the 4th. Boys and Girls Clubs of America is the official charity of Major League Baseball, reaching more than 4 million kids worldwide. Together, they create a positive place for kids. Great to have you with us. A special edition of Major League Baseball. Game number 162 between the White Sox and the Tigers. Here's Jim Thome as he flicks one foul. 0 for 1 with a strikeout in this one. 1-0. The White Sox striking in the 1st inning. The frame where Thome struck out, but Jim with 540 career home runs. He is 14th on the all-time list. Hit 30 or more home runs 12 times in his career. Not uncommon for him to go the other way and drive one about 420 feet.
Well, very hard. He pulls the ball on the ground, you see, from the shift that the Tigers are employing. But he also, in the air with that open stance, can look for the ball in and turn on it, or he can drive it opposite field. And those are some of the hardest power hitters to really approach because they don't have that one major hole. I'd say, Jimmy, if he has a hole, it's up and in, and you get him in a position where he wants to chase. But other than that, he's got outstanding plate coverage and power everywhere.
You see that? 159 opposite field homers since '91 to lead the big leagues. 2-2.
I think it's an interesting Hall of Fame discussion as well. A guy who's become a designated hitter, and how are voters at some point going to handle the DH? Edgar Martinez, I guess, going to be the first guy out there for the DHs that the writers are going to have to vote on and make some decisions.
It's always a tough one. 2,000 career hits. Obviously a ton of home runs. Garcia wants to know where that one missed. He thought he had a strikeout. 3-2 the count. So he's unhappy with Mike DeMuro, who will give it right back to him. Let's check out K-Zone.
Well, Freddie kind of surveying out there, and he's had some borderline pitches that I thought were strikes, and he gave that one a little animated reaction.
That was in there. Get into the shift. Rayburn will throw on to get him. One man gone. Thome is 0 for 2. A reminder what is on the line here today, and simply put, everything for the Chicago White Sox. They have to win and then beat the Twins in a 1-game playoff tomorrow right here in Chicago to go on into postseason play.
As you said earlier, they have to win 3 games in a row against 3 different teams. Now, the last time the Chicago White Sox won 3 games in a row, you have to go all the way back to September 3rd through the 6th. An off day mixed in there. That's the last time they won 3 games in a row. So it has been hit and miss here down the stretch in September.
Here's Konerko 0 for 1 with a line drive to left. Konerko, since August 5th, has been very, very productive. He's hit 12 home runs since then. His on-base percentage is at .424 since then, and his batting average is up 31 points since August 5th. So at a time when a lot of guys were slumping, Konerko is a real fan favorite here. Part of their World Championship team, really started to come to life. Go back even a little bit more up to August 1st. He has been arguably their best hitter. Ken Griffey Jr. on deck. 1-0 White Sox here in the 4th. The sun has actually made a late day appearance here in the Windy City. After all that rain and gray cloud cover, it's turned into a very comfortable day. Game not close to being sold out. And a few weeks ago, it did not look like this game was going to be necessary to a lot of these fans, perhaps. A big swing and a miss by Konerko. And Paul Konerko will strike out. 2 gone.
Well, Freddie Garcia in the first inning was really getting his legs underneath him, seeing what he had, trying to live on the edges. Didn't have a lot of confidence coming out of the bullpen. You see the movement on that last pitch. Outstanding changeup that just really tails off. That looked like a high fastball down the middle. Ended up low and in with outstanding movement. And you can see you don't need velocity. If you've got location and movement, 2 out of the 3 things you can do to the ball, you got a chance to be dominant still.
Now is that another thing that is a function of coming back from shoulder surgery? It might take 2, 3, 4, 5 innings to start getting that back.
But it's a little bit about confidence in your shoulder too, and feeling like you're a big leaguer and be aggressive again, because you leave the bullpen and it doesn't feel like when you were younger, and it doesn't feel like pre-op. And every day, sometimes the caliber of your bullets changes on you as you're coming through rehab and coming back from injury, and you have to learn what caliber do I have today and what do I have to work with. And sometimes even during the game, you're right, Dave, that it changes the force you can throw the ball, the rhythm that you have, and you just continually learn. And Steve talked earlier about the proprioception, the feeling that you have and where your body is in space. It continues to change as you go through that scar tissue and through the rehab.
The 1-1 to Junior Griffey is downstairs. 611 home runs for Griffey, as 5th on the all-time list. He scored career run number 1,611 yesterday. He's passed Lou Brock on the all-time runs list. He's now 38th.
He's a Hall of Famer. I mean, we're talking about other guys. Yeah, that's pretty easy for this guy, no question about it. Freddie Garcia's got a lot more depth on his pitches right now, too.
Hammered through for a base hit. Griffey Jr. now 1 for 2. 2-out single in the 4th.
Except for on that one. He went up with a high fastball right there. Griffey gets up on top of it, elevates himself in the box to be able to get to that pitch. The ball up. He stays up, be able to swing through it right there. Still has that beautiful stroke. Doesn't stay quite behind it as much as he might if he's going to drive the ball and hit out of the ballpark, but just enough to find a hole out there. And
that swing is artwork, though, isn't it?
Sure is.
And he tattooed one into the upper deck at the Metrodome the other day that should be shown in Cooperstown during his retirement ceremony. So, Hall of Fame ceremony. That one down in the dirt for a ball.
I think of Griffey's swing. I think of Freddie Couples in golf. I think of that effortless swing that generates so much power.
Number 5 all time, having moved by Sammy Sosa. This Alexei Ramirez now 0 for 1 with a fly to center. That was just the 2nd White Sox hit of the day. They lead it 1-0.
We talk about swings that remind you of other people. I look at Alexei Ramirez, and he reminds me of a young Alfonso Soriano. He's got that wiry strength to him. He gets himself in the box, and he just looks like he's going to uncoil as he starts to stride and swing the bat.
Gentleman who's lost his way, perhaps, wrong side of town.
I think those jerseys are on sale in this ballpark. Right?
That one's sharply but foul. Ramirez has had a really fine year. Ozzie again just raves about Alexei Ramirez, ranking among American League rookie leaders in homers. He's 2nd. He's 3rd in RBIs, 2nd in total bases, 4th in batting average, 5th in slugging.
A lot of speculation he'll be the shortstop here next year. Orlando Cabrera, free agent, will likely be moving on as we kind of talk a little bit about some of his issues this season.
Griffey at first with 2 away. That one ran in and almost hit him. 3 balls and 1 strike. Krasinski would be next.
He's already got 20 home runs, and you know, first is Evan Longoria down there in a lot of those categories that we're looking at. He's second and third and fourth down in Tampa Bay. And he's an absolutely amazing player. Reminds me a lot of Alex Rodriguez in his younger days. But this guy with already 20 home runs, you see how wiry he is at the plate. He's going to hit 30, 35 someday when that body fills out and he gets stronger. Those whippy hands get a little more weight behind him.
Another 25, 30 pounds. That is in there for a strike. He thought he had just accepted ball 4. Let's check out K-zone though and see if this was in the zone indeed. Like DeMuro said, yes.
3-1 fastball, keep the ball down. Good strike right there. You're right, Steve. He is starting to get some depth, and that shoulder's loosening up. He's getting through the pitch now a lot better.
I think the thing with Alexi Ramirez that he's going to have to do, though, 16 walks and 475 at bats this year. That's not enough. That's not a functional offensive player. It's nice to hit 20 home runs, but if you have more home runs than walks, you've got some issues.
That reminds me a lot of Soriano, too.
Yeah.
Runner goes. On one hop, it gets to Inge. Play at first base in time. Side retired. You wonder about the White Sox. Some doubt may be creeping in because they may have missed their window on Freddie Garcia in the first inning. 1-0 Chicago. On to the 5th. White Sox on top of the Detroit Tigers 1-0. Let's give you a look at game track and the scoring. Here it is. Jermaine Diamond, an RBI single in the first inning to chase in Orlando Cabrera, who had walked to reach. Gavin Floyd has been very, very good, the starter for Chicago. 4 innings, 4 strikeouts. He's given up just 1 hit in the biggest start of his career. But here's the second hit. That one ripped into left field. And a base hit by Ryan Rayburn, the second baseman. Rayburn now 1 for 2.
I think now we see if the running game comes back into play right here for Jim Leyland, as we've seen them trying to take advantage of Gavin Floyd's slow delivery and movement toward home plate. Rayburn has 2 stolen bases and 3 attempts at the major league level this year.
Rayburn went right after the very first pitch, and here's Inge. He's 0 for 1 as he takes one up and in for ball 1. The bottom part of this order, 6 through 9, not exactly a murderer's row for Jim Leyland today. Rayburn, Inge, Ryan, and Santiago. Inge started the day hitting just .203, although he does have some power. Runner holding, and it's inside for ball 2.
It'll be interesting to watch Gavin Floyd here. The hump inning usually comes a little earlier when you're on short rest, only 3 days. Those 2 fastballs right there up in the strike zone, less movement, more like Freddie Garcia's with just tail, plus giving up that first pitch fastball hit. A change in energy level maybe on the mound.
Runner goes, cut on and missed. Brzezinski's throw will not get him. It's another stolen base for the Tigers. They are running virtually at will. Their 3rd stolen base today, and we're only in the 5th inning.
Now, Earl, you've got a guy like that slow delivery. You're not going to change him right now. But at some point, you've got to think, you've got to start calling from the dugout, throwing over to first base, holding the runner, trying to freeze the legs a little bit. You see the jump there. There's really nothing that A.J. Brzezinski can do to throw him out. He was pretty accurate with his release.
Fly deep to left field. Wise back on the track, leaps up, can't get it. He's up against the wall. It caroms into the outfield. Here comes Rayburn around to score. This game is tied. Inge socking one, taking Wise all the way to the fence, where he was a little bit shaken up. We're tied up 1-1 on the double by Brandon Inge. He drives in his 51st run.
Well, falling behind in the count, you give up a first pitch fastball to your leadoff hitter base hit, then you fall behind 2-0 and you let Brandon Inge get 2 cuts off you, one in a 2-0 count and then in a 2-1 count. A dead fastball hitter. In his first at bat, he saw a lot of sliders, tried to sneak the fastball by the fastball hitter. It's like trying to sneak cheese by the rat, and a great effort out there in left field by Wise, but just no avail.
So the stolen base certainly factors there as Rayburn comes rumbling in from second. Now another man in scoring position for Dusty Ryan, the young catcher. He's 0 for 1 with a ground out to short.
Well, we saw earlier Gavin Floyd's 2-seam fastball where they set up the middle of the plate and it ran in. When you want to throw that on the outside corner, where's the catcher set up at that point? Can he set up on the outside corner and allow him to throw it because it leaked back over the plate?
Check swing foul back, 1-1.
I'd have my catcher put the glove on the outside corner, but I would aim the pitch for his shin guard that's outside the plate. So the shin guard is my visual cue, but the glove is
here.
Yeah, when he goes to the outside corner, the glove will end up on the corner, but that shin guard will end up outside. And if you really have some good depth, you can aim for the shoulder of the catcher and expect the ball to come down also.
Tigers have put 2 hits together for the first time today. A single by Rayburn, the RBI double by Inge, and the Tigers are on the board.
There's so much about pitching that is what is your, what are my sight points? This is where I'm aiming. This is where the ball's ending up. I need to make an adjustment.
Base hit into left. Inge into third. He'll stop there. 3 consecutive hits off of Gavin Floyd to begin the 5th inning. And the Tigers have the go-ahead run 90 feet away.
Interesting combination between where we are in the order and where Gavin Floyd is in the game on 3 days rest. You say we're not in the murderer's row. We're at the bottom end of the order, but we're at a part of the order where a lot of these guys are bottom of the order because they're not good breaking ball hitters. And he's still trying to live with his fastball when maybe the energy level's not there. He doesn't have the depth in the fastball. He doesn't have the velocity, and he definitely doesn't have the location this inning. This is really an inning where you want to go to your breaking ball to get through it when you're really going through your hump inning as far as your energy.
We saw him strike out Miguel Ordonez where they set up in that same inside 2-seam fastball where he dropped it down and he buried it down at his feet. That one kind of moved in, but it didn't move down, and it stayed in a hitting plane and allowed him to get the base hit.
Here comes Don Cooper. Activity Hotel is starting to loosen up in the bullpen. Hotel, the right-hander, quickly starts to throw. And Cooper will buy him a little more time as he goes to the hill. The batter will be Ramon Santiago. So much for that idea that this is the light hitting part of the order for Detroit, because they have strung together 3 straight hits.
We've seen mostly fastballs this inning, almost 90% in an inning when the fastball really is not the best pitch to a lineup that really is looking for the fastball. They're not looking to kind of really hit situationally. The fastball comes out of your hand. I see it. I want to see ball, hit ball, change ups, breaking balls.
White Sox must win or their season dies right here at home today. Here's Santiago 0 for 1 with a fly out to center. Detroit has now pulled ahead in hits 4-2 over Chicago.
75 pitches now for Floyd on the mound.
Trying to hold up, could not. He went around for strike 1.
He's really at a point where he is beginning this 5th inning, even though there's a run in and it's 1st and 3rd. So we're looking at 76 pitches to start this inning on 3 days rest. He could be near 90, 92 pitches with 2 out and runners still on, making key pitches at a place where he could be fatigued.
If Leland puts on any sort of a play here, he could bunt to get a run and advance the other runner.
There's hold at the moment. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think A.J. Przinsky shifted outside right there with a little bit of thought that maybe something might be happening.
And the runner at first base, Ryan, is a young guy, but he is a catcher. Two balls, 1 strike on Santiago, the veteran switch hitter from the Dominican. Started out hot this season. He was hitting .347 through the All-Star break. He's only batting .250. Granderson on deck.
The hit and run count right here instead of a double play.
That's on the corner. 2-2.
This is where experience will be something that Gavin Floyd wishes he had to draw on, because you really don't want to pitch to save that run on 3rd right here. You want to pitch to stay away from the big inning, even if you're down 2-1 at the end of this inning.
Chopped it into the dugout to the right, into the Tiger dugout. 2-2.
I read the quotes from Gavin Floyd coming into the game, and he said, I just want to go out there tomorrow. I'm nervous, of course. I'll be anxious. Once I throw my first pitch, I'll be fine. And I want to give my team a chance to win the game. Well, the chance to win the game here is really a 2-1 deficit. Not pitching to save the run on 3rd and giving up 4 or 5.
Nobody out there on the corners. Waved at and missed. He got him. He struck him out. And now he can go after Curtis Granderson, who strikes out a lot as well.
But a completely different approach in this at bat. We saw the breaking pitches. They disappeared there early in the inning. Fastball was up, not having the same action on it, gave up all the hits. Then he gets back into a situation, I think, to try to keep the runner from scoring from third, but he got more aggressive with the breaking ball.
Yeah, he did. And you know what? This was a veteran call by A.J. Pierzynski. He's got a 25-year-old on the mound, first year really having a big year, and he calls a 3-2 curveball. I'm sure Gavin Floyd didn't shake to that pitch, but he had a lot of confidence in it because A.J. called it.
He's stopped by Pierzynski as well. Here's Granderson. He has walked and lined out. As across for strike one. White Sox had their way with the Tigers this season. They went 11-6 against them, and Detroit was just 2-6 here in Chicago. Coming into today. Wrap foul down the right field line.
This is the last guy you want to play if you're the Chicago White Sox. Speed that he won't hit into the double play, power that he could turn this into a big inning, and the discipline to just be able to grind out at bats in a game that really doesn't matter to the Tigers.
Sheffield next, lurking. Granderson will strike out 110 of them to this point. 1-2.
Good pitch right there. They got him to turn on the inside fastball and pull it foul. Then they throw it in that higher than high fastball, kind of eye high. It looks so good. You see Pierzynski shift up high. Very well executed by Gavin Floyd. That's where you want to throw that one.
Floyd's 1-2. Sharply but foul down the line. Well, he has hit a couple of very good swings.
Well, they tried to come fastball in, and Granderson has shown he is on the fastball. I want to see him throw a curveball, not one for a strike, but at his back leg. The worrisome part about the curveball for a strike is with a man on first, a routine ground ball to right field kills you. You need a swing and miss curveball or one that he's going to pull foul also.
Injured third, Ryan at first, one away. Fought off again down the line.
Well, that's the pitch we're looking for. That curveball in the dirt got him out in front. If he's out in front of the fastball at 92 miles an hour, he's definitely going to be out in front of the curveball at 75, 76 miles an hour. So you don't want to turn the field for the hitter. You want him to make the adjustment to get the ball in fair territory, not you make the adjustment for him and throw him something hard away.
The 1-2. Another breaking ball fought off out of play to the left.
Got away with one right there.
I flinched up here as the next pitcher.
Yeah, that was a little hanging breaking ball right there. Now, the one thing, Curtis Granderson's kind of swinging around those breaking balls. And you see they set up for the breaking ball, but this one just hangs up there. The other ones we saw break down to the back foot for the left-handed hitter. That one stays up there. That makes veteran pitchers flinch.
Not every mistake gets hit out of the park, does it? The 1-2 once again. A good at bat here by Granderson.
He's got that eye level up high there. Right, you're going to change the eye level, but I want another breaking ball. I want the one that he struck out Santiago on, where he really buried it down in the dirt, where you started at the bottom of the zone, and you need your catcher to shift over and keep it in front.
Granderson has fouled off 6 consecutive pitches. They lead at first and third, one out. He would not chase it. 2-2.
Well, they went for exactly what they got. They went for the lockup. The last pitch you suspect, but we're going to throw it there. It's a dangerous pitch for us as far as you hitting it in fair territory, but you don't expect this pitch, and we're going to try to throw it on the black. Nice try. Pierzynski doesn't even want it for a strike. He sets up for a ball. If you make a little mistake on the corner, I'll take it.
Bloop foul again. A long at bat here for Granderson.
If I'm A.J. Pierzynski, I might go out and have a little visit here, turn this next pitch into the first pitch of the at-bat because of delay, and I give my young pitcher on the mound the confidence to say, look, bounce me a breaking ball right down the middle. I got you covered. I'll block it. That'll give him the confidence to bounce it and throw the pitch he needs to throw.
10th pitch of the at-bat. The 2-2. That is high for ball 3.
Some question about the Tigers and how much they want to be here. I don't think there's any question that Curtis Granderson's more than happy to be here and battle.
Well, he's dug in.
Remember the curveball to Santiago, 3-2.
Got it. That's exactly what he went to strike out Curtis Granderson. The moment of the day so far for Gavin Floyd. Out number 2. Boy, did they battle.
It was a long battle, a lot of foul-offs. And I'll tell you what, they took the risk of throwing the fastballs that could burn them to set up the 3-2 curveball, and it paid off.
We talk about a guy on 3 days rest right now at 92 pitches, and not all pitches are equal. Those pitches took a toll right there, and he was up for it.
Well, he surrendered 3 consecutive hits to start the inning, including the game-tying hit. He has come back to fans, Santiago and Granderson. Now comes Sheffield. Perhaps a future Hall of Famer, sitting on 499 homers. Goes after the first one, squibs it, but foul. Konerko was going to give all the time he could to see if it would take a left-hand turn.
Well, the good thing for Gavin Floyd is that Gary Sheffield's at the plate, because a lot of times a pitcher with 2 outs will think the inning is over and relax mentally. But with Sheffield in the box, you will never relax. He should be able to stay on his game and be his best here. 27 pitches this inning, and you see a hack like that, you're still going to be in tune with what you need to do.
So this is a good thing.
This is a good thing.
That's a good thing.
He's got 499 home runs in the back of his baseball card.
The 0-1.
Well, I'm telling you, concentration-wise, if it would have been the tail end of the order instead of the meat of the order, there would be a chance here to relax after pitching out of a 1st and 3rd no-out jam. With 2 out 1st and 3rd, and you're still in the heart of it, yeah, it's not a good thing to have him at the plate, but it's a good thing for your concentration.
Guy on deck will make you concentrate as well. Ordonez, the 1-1 pitch. Slammed to third. Nice friendly hop for Uribe, and that's it. Gavin Floyd with a magnificent job after giving up 3 straight hits. Strikeout, strikeout, ground ball to third. The Tigers do tie it, middle of the 5th. We're even at 1. Right-hander Gavin Floyd going after his 17th victory of the season, but is coming off maybe his finest inning of the season in terms of what he did after giving up the 3 hits and getting out of a jam. He does give up the lead, but it's only a 1-1 game here in the bottom of the 5th.
It'll be interesting to see if the White Sox change their approach. Early on, they got walks. They were working the count real early. Then they got the 1 run, and they started hacking at the first pitch. See if they try and build some innings.
Buzinski pops that one up to short left. And Santiago wants to take it for round number 1. Brzezinski 0 for 2. Hey, Tuesday night on E60 at 7 Eastern. John Force and his daughter Ashley are the first family of drag racing, but find out how they have been shaken to the core. That story and more Tuesday night at 7 o'clock on ESPN. Oral Hershiser, Steve Phillips, Dave O'Brien with you from Chicago and U.S. Cellular Field. The White Sox need to win to force a 1-game playoff tomorrow right here against the Minnesota Twins. If the White Sox lose, their season is over. They are trailing by half a game to the Twins in the American League Central. Twins could be celebrating as division champs tonight on their flight, should it happen, to Tampa St. Pete, where they would open up the division series in game 1 against the American League East champion Rays on Thursday afternoon. That only happened if the White Sox lose here to the Tigers. Uribe takes a strike. He's 0 for 1 with a pop out to third. White Sox and the Twins not playing their best baseball down the stretch by any measure. They've not been separated by more than 2.5 games since late July. A little trickler, the swinging bunt. Garcia has to handle that, and does for out number 2. Now the playoff schedule against the Rays. Those first 2 games are going to be at Tropicana Field Thursday and Friday on TBS and ESPN Radio. Tampa Bay with the 2nd best record in the American League behind the Angels, getting the opportunity to host a playoff series, and what a magnificent job by Joe Madden Again on TBS and ESPN radio, all of those games, all the Division Series games around baseball. And so many predicted that the Rays were going to fold in April and in May and in June, July, August, September. It just never happened. It seemed to me, Steve, that it took forever for some in the national press to realize that was a darn good baseball team.
Well, I don't think there's any question. They get kept being, well, you know, are the Rays going to fold or are the Rays going to fold?
Cabrera chops it. Fair ball. Nice play by Inge. Low throw. And scooped up by Cabrera. 1, 2, 3 they go. That's all for the White Sox. Quick trip to the plate in the 5th. On to the 6th. We're tied up 1-1. White Sox fans growing a little bit tense here. On to the 6th inning. And a 1-1 tie. Gavin Floyd will have Ordonez, Cabrera, and Thames to deal with. All home run hitters. Ordonez has gone 1 for 2 with a strikeout and a single. Tigers with 4 hits. White Sox have only 2 against Freddie Garcia. Garcia, who started out very shaky in the first inning, walked the first 2 men he faced, then gave up an RBI single to Jermaine Dye, has really settled into a groove. And Steve, in the 3rd inning, a 6-pitch inning, and in the just completed 5th, a 7-pitch inning.
Well, Chicago White Sox are taking at bats like you would expect the Detroit Tigers would be today. I mean, you know, the Tigers are playing for nothing. I mean, you know, they're here to play because the schedule says they should, but they're grinding out some at bats. White Sox are just swinging. You got Freddie Garcia coming off of shoulder problems, and his 3rd start back in the major leagues. Make him work. I mean, you go to the 5th inning of the game, and he throws 7 pitches. The first strike isn't necessarily the best strike that you're going to see, and even if it is, make him work.
The thing about coming back from surgery is your ratio of balls to strikes and quality pitches to non-quality pitches is different.
That is in there for strike 3. Pins Ordonez to the plate.
And I'll tell you what, good changeup, good slider that brings him back into this game. All fastballs early last inning. 3 fastballs for hits. Don Cooper visits the mound after these 3 fastballs gets hit, and this inning gets set up. A run in, 1st and 3rd, no out. Let's get the breaking ball back, kid. Let's throw the breaking ball to help us get out of this inning. That's what got you here mixing your pitches. 3 breaking balls, 3 outs.
At 99 pitches, so here comes number 100. This again is on 3 days rest. He has struck out 7. Here's Cabrera, 0 for 2. Had a poor start to his season, as the Tigers were losing their first 7 games in April and 10 out of their first 12. Cabrera's had a big second half, 21 homers since the break. Crowd antsy for another swing and a miss. 1-2. Dotel is up again. Just got up moments ago. This is the 2nd time he's warmed. Line shot into the alley. Onto the grass and right by Wise up against the wall. Cabrera wants to, and he will lumber in and slide in with a double. Boy, he can swing the bat.
Now, we saw the breaking balls that he was burying in the dirt, but when you hang a breaking ball, a quality major league hitter can do some damage with it. Great balance at the plate by Cabrera. You see Brzezinski set up off the plate. He rolls the breaking ball. He leaves it back out over the plate. Great balance, stays behind the ball, drives it into that left center field gap. It's a laser getting out there.
His 75th extra base hit. And again, since the break, he's been killing it.
A pure hitter.
Thames rockets that one foul. He has struck out and hit into a 6-4-3 double play. Tigers threatening to take the lead for the first time today.
Marcus Thames is the most prolific pull hitter in the major leagues. He has 54 hits to left field, 11 to center field, and 6 hits to right field, which I guarantee you were mistakes that he flared off the end of the bat. He just goes out to the ball in the outside corner and tries to yank it into left field.
And 25 homers in just over 100 games. 1-1 the count.
25 homers and 56 RBIs. So at times contact can be an issue. He can run into one if you make a mistake, but he'll chase the breaking ball off the plate and vulnerable to the heater inside.
Cabrera at second, bounced up there. Brzezinski finds it quickly. 2 balls, 1 strike, tied up 1-1 in the 6th. Thames homered in 5 consecutive games, one stretch back in June to tie a franchise record. They went 4-1. They're 16-6 when he homers. He pulls that one right to Uribe. No play at second. It's sharply for out number 2. Monday night, 2 AFC North division rivals will fight it out between the lines at Heinz Field. Ray Lewis and the Ravens try to slow down the Pittsburgh Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger. Monday Night Football on ESPN at 8:30 Eastern Time. Coverage gets underway at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown delivered by UPS. Cabrera still at second. Timms cannot bring him in. And here's Rayburn, who has singled and grounded out. He takes strike 1. Well, last inning, Floyd with a tour de force after a succession of hits. 2 strikeouts, and then got Sheffield to bounce into the force. Crowd is up for him at U.S. Cellular. Trying to hold again. Little dribbler. Floyd bobbles it, throws it high and down the line. Here comes the run. Cabrera scores. Rayburn into second. Floyd threw it away, and the Tigers have the lead 2-1. Well, shock has just settled in here at U.S. Cellular. Floyd with a decent throw gets the man at first, and he's in the dugout. Here comes Ozzie Guillen. Oral, what in the world happened there?
Well, he gets what he wants. A little nubber off the end of the bat, but a little internal clock that let him down. He had plenty of time, but he rushed it. He didn't get his feet underneath him. When he reached down, he bobbled it, and then he tried to rush it. But when he comes in, the feet are too narrow. You see, when he bobbles it, he doesn't have a good base under him, and then he thinks he has to hurry, and he still had plenty of time. His clock just failed him. Slow to the plate when he has runners on base, and a little PFP, pitcher's fielding practice, would have saved him a no decision right here. Now he's on for the loss, but he's still in the game.
It's actually ruled a double error. Got an error on the fumble and a second error on the throw. 107 errors this season, 4th most in the American League. The White Sox fielding woes continue. May really cost them, might cost them a postseason spot. Now they've taken one of those errors back, we understand, as this pitch misses for ball 1 on Brandon Inge.
Remember how fielding affected the Detroit Tigers back in the playoffs and World Series in 2006. They couldn't field the bunts and threw some of those away, their young pitchers.
See the official score changing it to 1 error. He actually realized too that even with the bobble he could have thrown the guy out. So it's 2 errors if the second bobble, the throw's late, compared to if the throw is early and would have been there in time. So
now they're going to put him on here after falling behind 2-0. So Inge will be on with a free pass in front of Dusty Ryan. The September call-up. So that'll put runners at first and second, 2 away. 2-1 Detroit. Tigers with the lead for the first time here today, and a do or die for the White Sox. 19 unearned runs this season, most in the majors.
And usually not his doing with his errors. It's been the defense behind him that has failed him.
The White Sox missed Joe Creedy at third base, and they do not have very good outfield defense. They don't have great speed out there. Now Dwayne Wise a little bit better, but Nick Swisher's gotten a lot of playing time in the outfield. Ken Griffey Jr. doesn't cover the kind of ground he used to in center field.
Ryan takes the first one in there for a strike. He has singled and grounded to short. 326 since they brought him up at the top of the month with a couple of home runs. Rayburn and Inge on. The breaking ball missed outside, 1-1.
I'll tell you what, something changed here for me. When the White Sox are down a run, so much more is on the line, and you hang on every pitch. When the game was the Tigers were down or the game was even, but now that the White Sox are down, this is like, whoa,
Very true. The 1-1 off the plate. When the Tigers are hitting, it feels like, at least at this point, a playoff game. It didn't before. It felt like that when the White Sox were in there, but now the whole atmosphere around this game has changed. Detroit up by 1. He checked and it's in there for a strike. But Ozzie Guillen went out and then left Floyd in the ball game and did not bring in Dotel. The crowd was really behind that move, and now they rise again as you see what's at stake. Only the world for the White Sox. The entire season is on the line. Swung on and missed. He struck him out. Ryan fans, but the Tigers have taken the lead. Gavin Floyd, we'll see if that's a critical throwing mistake in the end. It brings in the go-ahead run. Wise, Dye, and Tomey coming up for the White Sox. Rayburn with that swinging bunt. Floyd with the bobble, and then fires it over the head. Look at the fans, and living and dying, as they certainly did on the strikeout to end the inning. 8 Ks for Floyd. Ozzie Guillen trying to stay upbeat, but his team is down a run.
Well, you love Ozzie greeting Gavin there. You know, Gavin is kicking himself, but that's good managing, showing you still like the way he fought through that.
Well, we have yet to see any of the trademark White Sox Thunder, the top home run hitting team in the game. Floyd has allowed 2 runs, 5 hits, but his throwing mistake, which was a doozy, has put him behind here.
That's why that when your offense is based upon power, it can come and go on you. That's the thing, particularly in the playoffs. So you're facing the best pitchers in the game when you're playing playoff teams, and if all you can do is score when you hit home runs, it's tough to win a lot of games, and it's tough to win close games.
Wise has walked and popped up in this one. He'll be followed by Dye and then Tomey, and if anybody reaches, more power behind them in Paul Konerko. You made the point early, and I think it was a great one, Steve, that if the White Sox had gotten one of those big bombs, a 3-run shot, put together a big inning, maybe that's it for the day for the Tigers. I mean, they've got nothing to play for, really. They are professionals, but you can take it right out of them immediately.
Well, but because they are professionals, the longer they're in the game, the longer those professional competitive juices start to flow, and they're like, hey, we're out here, we might as well go out and try to beat somebody. And Freddie Garcia, he got through that first inning. He settled in and got competitive too and changed his approach, got some depth on his pitches.
Freddie Garcia drops in a strike. Eastern Conference Finals WNBA that was supposed to air right now is currently airing on ESPN Classic. We want to let you know about that. Detroit Shock against the New York Liberty. That series tied 1-1 in Detroit. The 3-2 pitch. Up high for ball 4. Wise is on. And a promising start against Garcia here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Garcia has been some story today, up to 70 pitches. He walked the first 2 men he faced, then gave up a base hit. It looked like it was going to be a very short day for the man who at one point just a few years ago was a huge factor for the White Sox in their rotation.
Well, his stock is definitely rising, and GMs around baseball, you think about the shoulder surgery, the quick comeback, and pitching in the big leagues already. In an important game like this against the White Sox, think what an off-season of health and training will do for you coming into spring training also.
Here's Dye. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI single. Strike 1 to Jermaine Dye. 34 homers, 96 runs batted in. Wasn't real happy with that strike from Mike DeMuro.
But that's the 7th pitch of this inning, which is what he threw the entire 5th inning. So, you know what, yeah, you didn't like the call, but you're making him work a little bit. You got to put some stress on him out there and force him to work and force him to have to throw it in the zone.
Dye has been so clutch in recent games. The runner goes. Here's the throw by Ryan, and it's into the outfield. Wise did not pick it up immediately, stayed at second base, but has a stolen base here and represents the tying run for Chicago.
Actually, nice job by Ryan Rayburn at second base, not panicking when the ball got by him. He just acted like, hey, it's no big deal. You see the jump, not a real big lead, but you see the throw, and Rayburn doesn't really react as the ball gets by him. And Kenny Williams, the general manager, saying, come on, guys, get in there now. That's what I'm talking about. Go, go, go. I'll tell you what, you see that? That's pain. These games, it's fun for players. These games kill general managers. You hang on every single pitch. It's physical pain. It hurts when your team's out in the field, especially when you're trailing. Look at that in his eye. That hurts. That's just, you're hanging on Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner of the team, commiserating with one another.
Well, Jim Leyland came out with trainer Kevin Rand to talk with Garcia. So this is an injury visit. They've talked a lot about his shoulder. They've talked a lot about what he has shown today as well. Holding a 2-1 lead over his former team and against his great friend, Ozzie Guillen. We have a delay here. Leyland left the hill and went back inside the dugout. And that's going to do it for Garcia. He's going to have to come out of the ball game. Jim Leyland retreated to his dugout for about 30 seconds, and now he is lifting Garcia. Galarraga is coming out of the bullpen for Detroit. We'll take a break as well. Garcia leaving behind the tying run at second base. 2-1 Detroit, and we're back in a moment in Chicago. Earl, what can you tell about what happened here with Freddie Garcia, why he came out?
Well, you know, coming back from shoulder surgery, one of the last things that'll come is endurance. And if the muscles start to, you know, get tired and maybe cramp up a little bit, maybe he felt a little bite in there. And you can see at the end of this delivery, you see him just kind of tuck the shoulder like there's not any extension left in it. You throw the ball as hard as you can, you accelerate, but the decelerators in the back of your shoulder around the scapula, the rhomboid muscles, sometimes they can get tight. You see it gets a little stiff neck, a little pinch up there. And hopefully for Freddie Garcia, it's nothing major because he has shown that he can still pitch at the big league level.
So he gives way to Armando Galarraga, starter coming out of the bullpen here for the Detroit Tigers.
Well, I'll tell you, if there's any question how Jim Leyland is handling this game, he's brought his best pitcher in the game, and he's a starter. He's made 28 starts this year, 29 total appearances. Very effective this year, 13-6 record. A rookie. The guy was with the Texas Rangers organization, let go. The Tigers signed him as a minor league free agent. And look at what he has done this year. 152 hits, 178 innings. But the fact he's in this game, this is Jim Leyland saying, I respect this division in the game a lot. And I'm going to do what's right to win this game. It's the last game of the season. This guy's fresh. I can go to him. And the Minnesota Twins right now have to be tipping their hats to what Jim Leyland has done, making this decision, bringing this kid in the game. Because if you could pick one guy to come in to be the best pitcher for the Detroit Tigers the way they are, their season this year, it's this kid, Armando Galarraga.
Well, the Minnesota Twins back home in Minnesota. They're watching this game unfold, trying to figure out where they're headed. To Florida to take on the Rays, or here to Chicago to take on the White Sox in a one-game playoff. Catch all the action of the 2008 Major League Baseball postseason. The excitement begins October 1 with the division series. So Galarraga inherits a runner at second base, nobody out, 2-1 Detroit. Here in the bottom half of the sixth inning, and right into a hornet's nest, it's Dye, Tomey, and Konerko, all with the talent to hit the ball out of the ballpark and hit it a long, long way. 35,923 watching here at U.S. Cellular, and a lot of nervous faces. We are being told that the Minnesota Twins are leaving for the airport at 8 p.m. Central Time.
Well, Armando Galarraga on the mound, a Texas farmhand against John Danks, who was a Texas Ranger farmhand also, who will pitch tomorrow if the White Sox move on and have to play those Twins that are headed to the airport at 8 o'clock.
Danks a 1-1 record with a 7.96 ERA in his career against the Minnesota Twins. So he's not fared all that well, although he had a pretty good outing last time out in Minnesota.
If necessary, Danks against Blackburn right here in Chicago. Galarraga will get as many warm-up tosses as he needs because this is an injury situation with Garcia having to come out of the contest.
I think that's why Jim Leyland left the mound. He was going to decide who he wanted to bring in once he found out that Garcia was hurt.
Now more and more fans have been making it to the ballpark here on the south side after the long rain delay of 3 hours and 4 minutes that finally ended.
Well, this is where I want to see my veteran hitter get that runner to third. I know in a lot of situations throughout the season you turn people loose that are pull hitters that are right-handed. But if I'm a Chicago White Sox, I want to see a routine ground ball to second base or first base right here. Maybe he shoots it through for a base hit. The last thing you want to do is see an out to the left side of the field.
Jermaine Dye 1 for 2 with an RBI single in the first inning, accounting for the White Sox only run to this point. Wise at second, nobody out.
Interesting to watch Ryan Rayburn, the second baseman, trying to keep Wise close at second base. If Jermaine Dye's thinking, I'm going to go the other way with it, Rayburn's moving and somewhat out of position to be able to cover a ground ball going that direction. He's trying to jockey the runner to keep him close, which I understand, but you've got to at some point release him and get yourself back understanding what the hitter's trying to do.
Dye has been on fire with the bat. Had a huge series against Cleveland, in which he went 6 for 12 with a pair of home runs. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, that was the pitch to do it. If you're going to drive a ball to the right side of the infield or into the outfield gap over there, that high fastball down the middle, stay inside it and drive it. I know we're thinking small ball and it's only the 6th inning, but I'll tell you what, the season's short when you're down a run and it's do or die.
That one gets away from Ryan, and the runner will move up. Wise into third on the wild pitch.
Well, he got him over. He got him over. It's doing your job. Again, when you're an effective hitter, they're going to go to their best stuff to try to get you. You see him go to the hard breaking ball away, and he just could not keep it in front. We saw A.J. Pierzynski for the White Sox do a terrific job blocking the ball, keeping it in front. This one kicks to the side. Now the infield coming in here. Jim Leyland trying to cut down the runner at the plate.
Nobody out. The 3-2. That one gets by all the way to the backstop. Here comes the run. Back-to-back wild ones, and the White Sox have tied it on a wild pitch, ball 4. It's a 2-2 game.
Well, when the adrenaline hits you and you've been a starter all year and you come into a relief situation, you've got a huge crowd here making noise. You're up by a run. You don't think this means something to the Tigers. I feel pressure on the mound, and Jimmy Leyland is managing this game like it's a playoff game. Those were 2 pulled pitches that were overthrown.
Bobby C coming in. Jim Leyland managing like his team is playing for a postseason life here. We'll take a break. We're tied 2-2 in Chicago. Well, Galarraga brought into a situation he does not find himself in normally, certainly, and boy did he look tight. Back-to-back wild pitches. He wild pitches in the tying run. The left-hander C coming out of the bullpen to square off against Tomey, who takes strike 1. Big Jim 0 for 2 today.
Bobby C comes on left situation. You saw that first pitch, breaking ball. That's his specialty against lefties. Been cold though his last 5 outings. Had a 5 ERA in his last 5 outings, so he has not been on track compared to that 4.18.
Dye at first base, nobody out. 2-2. Tomey looked like he went and he did. 0-2. Walks have really factored very prominently for the White Sox today. The very first man who scored for them, Orlando Cabrera, in the first inning. He took ball 4 to get on. Dwayne Wise did, and then stole second base. And he would score moments ago. Dye now on at first after a ball 4. The 0-2 to Tomey. That one right through Ryan all the way to the backstop. Another one that gets away. Dye down to second base.
Chicago White Sox best offensive weapon right now is the wild pitch. And watch the glove of Ryan. goes over there kind of the wrong way. You've got to go over there, not only glove, but get your feet moving quicker. Try and keep your shoulders square. And that one right there, you got to turn your glove quicker and get out there. And look at this one. You got the glove in the wrong position. You got to flip it the other way. 3 of them.
That also ruled a wild pitch. 3 of them in this inning and nobody out.
Now you got a young catcher up at the major league level, hasn't worked with the pitching staff all that much, and getting eaten up a little bit by the cutter.
1-2 to Tomey. Breaking ball fought off foul. The White Sox only have 2 hits the entire day, and now into the evening here on the south side.
Now for me, when you check catcher's thumb out when he gives a target, that target is too low. That's a target at 9 o'clock. See that thumb going across? That needs to be more upright so that he can turn the glove both directions. When you have a flat thumb like that as a catcher, you've got too long to go if you've got to turn the glove in the opposite way.
Go ahead run at second and die, and that's too far inside. 2-2 on Tomey.
Jim Sundberg was now an upper executive with the Texas Rangers. When I was there as the pitching coach, he used to teach me about catching, and he'd say you want to get your thumb at about 1 o'clock on a clock, because then you can go in both directions. It's easier to hold the glove and have the thumb like at about 3 o'clock or flat, but when you have it there to turn it all the way the other way, no matter which way you go, you get locked up. Your elbow gets too far from your body.
Tomey cuts and misses. Down he goes. He strikes out for the 2nd time and the 145th time this year.
And Jim Sundberg had to learn to get the glove in both directions because he caught Charlie Huff, the knuckleballer, and it was very, very hard. He didn't know which way it was going. So he learned to hold the glove in the exact position so he could move it in both directions very easily.
Anybody know Jim Sundberg would, because he was some kind of catcher. Yeah. Gold Glover.
6-time Gold Glover. Konerko will be put on intentionally here. This will set up a double play. So Paul Konerko has been the hottest bat going for the White Sox, along with Jermaine Dye recently. They'll take first base, and they'll go after Ken Griffey Jr. instead.
There's this thing about the Chicago White Sox lineup right now, because the 2 hot hitters are put together. Griffey has been swinging the bat very well, hitting the ball hard most of his at-bats, and then having a lot of them fall in. And Konerko has been their main power source in their run production. So you walk Konerko because he's the hottest of the hot, but you still got Griffey to deal with, and you're going left on left. But I'll tell you what, Ken Griffey Jr. is one of the better breaking ball hitters in baseball still. He was always a sweet swinging lefty, and that early in his career with all those home runs, he would catch that high breaking ball. He might not hit for a high average, but he will catch the high breaking ball and sit on it.
Just 198 against left-handers this season. But that's the matchup. Lefty-lefty, 1 out, 1st and 2nd. Griffey is singled and grounded out today. Junior Griffey has not been to postseason play since 1997. He's only been to the playoffs twice in his entire Hall of Fame career. 1-0.
Ken Griffey Jr. has not been the Ken Griffey Jr. of old. I mean, they knew that when they got him, that he wasn't going to be that major difference maker. But they need him to make a major difference right now. I mean, they're continuing to give him at-bats in critical situations, hoping to recoup what they gave up in a deal.
See with a 1-0 pitch, a breaking ball down low, and again Ryan really fought to make that play, just to catch it.
That looked like a cross-up. I mean, he caught that ball like he did not know what's coming. Like maybe this is a fastball in, and this ends up being a cutter, and he just fights it off. Did a great job catching that ball.
Kenny Williams has been living and dying on every pitch. General manager of the White Sox, trying to get his team into postseason play again. They have to win today. Check swing, and it's inside. 3-0 on Griffey.
Well, you know what? He might not produce like the old Ken Griffey Jr., but the veteran presence at the plate and the acknowledgement and understanding of what this at-bat is about. You don't see him jumping out of his shoes trying to do it himself. He's willing to pass the baton.
The young man on deck, Ramirez, is the best they have with men in scoring position. He's one ball away from batting with the bases loaded here. The White Sox have certainly gotten some help from some wildness off the hill from Detroit. 2 on. And Griffey Jr. takes ball 4. They are all loaded up for Alexei Ramirez. 4th walk in the inning issued by the Tiger pitching staff. One of those intentional.
The reason Alexei Ramirez is so good with runners in scoring position is he doesn't get flushed. He doesn't change his approach. He's a swinger. He swings at 59.4% of the pitches he sees. Bases loaded. The pitcher has to throw it over the plate, so he's going to swing at a better pitch. He's going to get something to hit. There's nowhere to put him.
Glover getting ready in the bullpen. And Jim Leyland will make the switch right now and bring on the right-hander to face Ramirez. And we're going to keep it right here. Tigers 2, White Sox 2. The turning point in the ball game perhaps here. The White Sox must win or their season is over. If they do beat the Tigers here, then Minnesota comes here tomorrow afternoon for a 1-game playoff to decide the American League Central. The loser of that goes home for the winter. White Sox have just loaded up the bases. In the inning, the Tigers with 4 walks issued and 3 wild pitches. The White Sox do not have a hit in this inning. And they have scored 1 run to tie it. Ramirez about to swing with the bases all loaded up here against Glover. Gary Glover out of the pen, making his 47th appearance of the season.
Well, Gary Glover has been hot lately. This is opposite of Bobby C. The 5.3 ERA is there on the board, but lately 2.25 in his last 5 out. He's been throwing that sinker and keeping it down, and he could look for a double play ball here against Alexei Ramirez, being a free swinger. Even though the base is loaded, I'm going to say first pitch breaking ball. I want to make something look like a strike and end up a ball and maybe get him to chase, because if I can see that he's still a free swinger in this situation, I don't want to give him a cookie. I want to throw him a pitch that is probably like a 1-2 count in my mind, make it look like a strike, end up a ball, and if he's free swinging, I've got a chance to get him out with a strikeout.
Steve, he's a young guy who doesn't buckle under the pressure. He's hit 3 grand slams this season.
And the thing is, he's not that young a guy. He's 27 years old. He's a rookie, but he played some competitive baseball in Cuba, international play. So I don't think this flusters him. Being in an environment like this is an opportunity where a lot of other guys might think, hey, a little pressure here. He just has to try to get Glover to elevate a fastball, get something up in the zone. It's going to be a battle of where that pitch is. Is it at the knees or a little bit higher?
Ramirez hitting .374 with men in scoring position, among the very best in the American League.
Well, that was Gavin Floyd, and he feels better about his throwing error. Now he's given his team a chance to win. He pitched very well, but he threw a ball away that put him behind, but they've caught up.
Dye, Konerko, and Griffey leading all the way around. 1 man out. Ramirez 0 for 2. Goes after the first one. Driven deep to left. Way back. Grand slam. Wow. Just put the White Sox in the lead 6-2 with a grand slam and a curtain call. How do you like that?
He loves to swing, and there's a reason why you swing with the bases loaded. He got the first pitch fastball and unloaded on it.
I think maybe the Minnesota Twins are fueling up the charter and heading for Chicago. That one down the line, and Przinsky will romp into second base with a double.
Well, you talked about Glover wanting to get a ground ball double play, going with the sinker ball, trying to get it down to the zone. But you see this little ball up in the zone right there. He knew it as soon as he hit it. You saw him uncoil that swing. It looks so much like Alfonso Soriano, where he's closed and he just uncoils and drives it out of the ballpark. Make that 4 grand slams for the rookie.
A battle of height. The height of the pitch was up. You said that was going to be the battle during the at-bat, and you get it up, give him a chance to lift it. Wow.
That's what I said. Here's Juan Uribe. He has popped up and grounded back to the mound. Last half of the 6th inning, the White Sox opening up a 4-run lead. Przinsky after his double getting the lead, so Chicago trying to add on here and keep that line moving, as they say.
Well, when you watch the Chicago White Sox now, what they're doing to the Tiger pitching staff, it puts an exclamation point on what Freddie Garcia was doing earlier in the game and how well he was pitching.
When that fly ball left Ramirez bad, that was just their first hit in the inning. And yet they had scored, by the time it went over the wall, 5 times on just 1 hit.
Now, walks come back to haunt you. I mean, the Tigers this year 2nd in the American League in base on balls and free passes, and it comes back to haunt you. It's haunted the Tigers all season long, and it certainly has haunted them in the 6th inning today.
The 1-2 to Uribe. Served to short. Santiago gets him. Przinsky holding at second. 2 away.
Walks and wild pitches and fastballs that are not located well to a free swinger. The very first pitch, it's up. You see it's thigh high down the middle, and that does look like Soriano. Not only with the swing, but the complete smile. No matter what you're doing on the field, loves to play, and boy, 4 grand slams. You couldn't have hit a bigger one in your 4th one.
Now the biggest hit of his young major league career by far.
That's awesome.
Here's Cabrera. Orlando Cabrera 0 for 2. As you mentioned, 4 grand slams. That's a Major League Baseball record for a rookie. Also tied a White Sox record for all players. Albert Bell also hit 4 grand slams in the season.
I really like A.J. Przinsky. They're not holding at second base, getting a very strong secondary lead, knowing that with 2 outs he's going to try to score on a base hit.
Blue foul back out of play. They've hit 12 of them this season. Steve, you talked about it when we came on the air, and that's how the White Sox have won enough games to this point to get them oh so close to postseason play. It's the big fly.
47.4% of their runs coming into play tonight have come from the home run. The highest percentage of any team that would be a playoff team since 1969.
Caught by Cabrera. The nobody caught Alexei Ramirez. Big bomb to left. His 4th grand slam in his rookie campaign that has given the White Sox a 6-2 lead at the crack of the bat. A smile that would light up Chicago. And the White Sox may be on their way to a 1-game playoff for the American League Central, thanks to Alexei Ramirez.
Now on ESPN Classic, Game 3 of the WNBA Eastern Conference Finals. Katie Smith puts Detroit up by 10, part of an 11-0 run. Detroit 1 win away from reaching their 3rd straight WNBA Finals. Following the conclusion of baseball, we'll have it for you on ESPN2.
And we are going to the top half of the 7th inning here at U.S. Cellular. The White Sox resoundingly have taken a 6-2 lead on a first pitch swinging grand slam by the Rookie of the Year candidate Alexei Ramirez. Matt Thorne, the left-hander, coming out of the bullpen.
Matt Thorne is somebody that Mr. Guillen can trust. He's got a big power arm. He's tied for 5th in appearances in the American League with 73, this being his 74th appearance.
taking on Ramon Santiago, who's flied to center and struck out. White Sox do have a new center fielder in the ball game, replacing Ken Griffey Jr. Popped up. Konerko will make the catch. One man out. Brian Anderson takes over for Junior Griffey. Griffey taking a key walk, and Dotel is warming up again. This is for the third time. They want to get him in the ball game here at some point. He is warm.
Like he's ready.
Top of the order here in Granderson. He is 0 for 2 with a walk and a stolen base, hitting .281. Goes after the first pitch. Cabrera a little high, and that one into the dugout area. It caroms back to Konerko, and Cabrera making his 16th error of the season.
We saw Gavin Floyd make an error earlier because of his footwork when he threw the ball. Orlando Cabrera kind of stayed back, let the ball play him a little bit, and didn't get his feet moving to make the throw.
Well, Ozzie will not wait. He's going to bring on Dotel. So we will have a pitching change for the White Sox. They go back to the bullpen looking to protect the 6-2 lead. We'll be back in just a moment with Sheffield on deck. Well, the exuberance of that young man, Alexei Ramirez, and his grand slam has put the White Sox in front 6-2. But Ozzie Guillen has to dip into his bullpen again. This was not a popular decision here at U.S. Cellular. The fans weren't thrilled because Octavio Dotel, even though he's 4-4 with a .380 ERA, has allowed 12 home runs in 66 innings.
Well, but he's hot lately, and sometimes that bullpen gets used as a totem pole, and whoever's near the top. This guy has been throwing it well of late.
Granderson gets down to second base. He was running with the first pitch to Sheffield, so he's into scoring position. Sheffield, who has 499 career home runs, is 0 for 2 today. He has 18 at bats against Dotel in his career, and he's homered 3 times off. And Dotel has been giving it up on the season in there for a strike, 1-1 on Sheffield.
See the home run numbers right there, and Octavio Dotel can run that fastball up there, but at times his command can elude him. He can find too much of the heart of the plate, try to run the fastball, and he didn't throw it 97, 98 like he used to.
Granderson, who reached on the error and just took second. That one swung and fouled back by Sheffield. Gary now 25th on the all-time home run list.
It's a little bit all or nothing with Octavio Dotel, though. You know, the home run by Sheffield, we're looking for 500, but Octavio giving up the home runs, but he's tied for first for bullpen guys with 92 strikeouts, 12.48 strikeouts per 9 innings, is second in the American League. So when he's on big time, and when he's off, he gives up the long ball.
He's only allowing a batting average of .210 against him. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Steve and I were around when Octavio broke in. Steve was the GM of the Mets, and I was on there as a veteran presence, and it was he didn't have the same body. He's really filled out a lot and gotten stronger, and early on command was the issue too. It was always a big explosive arm.
He was a thrower early on, and then when he went to Houston he became more of a pitcher, and then he's had some injuries and he's had to work his way back a little bit. It doesn't have the same power on that fastball he once did.
Fly to center field, but there's Anderson. He makes the grab for the second out. Granderson retreating to second base. So not this time for Sheffield. And the hitter will be Maglio Ordonez, who has struck out twice today and singled. Sheffield still at 499.
That's part of the order too to start to work through right here. You know, you get through this with Ordonez, then you face Miguel Cabrera the way you want to with nobody on base.
RBI opportunity for Ordonez, who's driven in 103 runs. That man Cabrera 127. And for Ordonez, that's 100 RBIs 3 consecutive seasons now. First Tiger to do that since Cecil Fielder did it 4 years in a row back in the 90s. His son Prince is now into postseason and a star in his own right with the Milwaukee Brewers. 6-2 White Sox here in the 7th. Two and nothing. And the Twins may well be setting. They're heading for Chicago and the South Side for a playoff game tomorrow on the inside corner. Ordonez has had some funny looks from Mike DeMuro all day. They have not seen eye to eye in the strike zone. Two down on the 2-1 pitch. Across for a strike, all even 2-2.
That's a good pitch right there. He comes up and in with a fastball for a strike, and then he changes the plane going down and away. You see A.J. Pierzynski set up. Look at where he throws that. That's an awfully tough pitch right there, especially since he just threw one up and inside for a strike and got him thinking. He didn't like that pitch up there. He thought it was a ball. Then you go paint the corner down and away.
3-2. 94 with that Swifty. Now, let's see what K-Zone thought of this one.
Keep the ball down, try and keep him in a yard. Don't walk him, don't give him too much good to hit. That's about as good as you can get it.
And keep that pitch in the ballpark.
For sure.
Granderson dancing off second. Fly ball to right. But Dye has plenty of room. Side retired. Dotel and company do a good job pitching around the error. Middle of the 7th inning. White Sox are getting closer. It is 6-2 Chicago. Alexei Ramirez with his grand slam and a grand smile to light up the ballpark here on the South Side, giving Chicago a 6-2 lead that capped a 5-run 6th inning. So it's out of the bottom half of the 7th inning as the White Sox close in on a 1-game playoff for the Central Division title with Minnesota. That would be tomorrow if the White Sox hang on and win it. Now this man, Dwayne Wise, right at the top of that 6th inning, really started things off with his walk and then the stolen base. Of course, there were 3 wild pitches after that. He would score on one of those.
Done a nice job in that number 2 spot in the lineup and got on base twice with base on balls, and they needed some energy. They don't steal many bases. We talked about that, but he adds an element to this offense.
Well, you looked at the exuberant response that Ramirez had on his own grand slam. But think about this, man, the way the White Sox have played in the month of September, at times very, very poorly. Maybe they shouldn't even be here at this point. It's a bit of a minor miracle the way they played down the stretch. And Ozzie Guillen said this the other day, so we're just very, very lucky to be here. Losing 5 of the last 6 games. Under 500, and yet here they are. Cut on and missed by Wise, and down he goes on strikes. Looking ahead, possibly anyway, to the Minnesota and Chicago showdown tomorrow. There's the season series. Minnesota with the edge, 10-8. But look at the Twins, 2-7 against the White Sox in this building, Oral.
Yeah, and you think about what the White Sox have to do. 3 teams in 3 days and win all 3, and then move into the division series and win 3 out of 5. So really, they've got to get hot. You talk about the home run bats can go hot or cold. They've got to win 6 out of 8 to move through the next series.
Dye bloops a foul out of play. He's gone 1 for 2. The other thing to think about is a situation where they're asking 4 different pitchers to go on short rest. 4 consecutive guys.
Well, they've been doing that for about 2 weeks. Their pitching has been so thin, and their bullpen really, Ozzie can't trust many arms down there, so they are coming into this on fumes.
0-2 on Dye.
There have been 20 different pitchers in the last 19 days that have gone on 3 days rest. They've gone short. 5 of them have been Chicago White Sox pitchers. Their 5th starter was getting knocked around. Clayton Richard got the ball. He didn't get it done, so they decided let's go with 4, and we'll see what we can do. And there's Javier Vasquez. Been a tough couple outings for him of late, but he's probably available to back up Danks tomorrow.
fly down the right field line, hit well. Ordonez on the run to the corner and will make the catch. Die to the warning track, 2 down. Tomey up next. 6-2 White Sox. We are in the 7th inning in front of just under 36,000. This is game number 162, a makeup from a postponed game in the middle of September. For a long time, it didn't look like it was going to be necessary the way the White Sox were playing, like they would never have to play this game. Tomey 0 for 3. He has struck out twice and grounded to second, and he takes a ball inside.
Amazing how one little win in Minnesota and all this probably doesn't have to happen, and then you get swept in Minnesota, and now you are just grinding it out just to get in to have a shot at playing Minnesota tomorrow.
A ball and a strike on Tomey. 33 homers, 89 RBIs. The shift is on for him.
Probably wondering what happened. He swung right through that fastball.
Across for a called strike, and it's 1-2. Jim Leyland has not had the magic touch this season, or certainly here today and tonight, as his bullpen really blew up on him.
And he has been grinding it out. You talk about a team, the White Sox, and a manager for the Detroit Tigers. His starter, Freddie Garcia, gave everything he could, and Jim has been pulling every string and bullpen punch to throw at him to try and have a lot of integrity and respect for the league. And if I was Minnesota Twins, how would I want the opposing manager to manage against the White Sox? Well, Jim has done that today.
Jim says he is coming back next season. He'll continue to manage the Tigers despite a very disappointing season from the game's great minds. Bases empty, 2 down. And down goes Tomey. A quick 1-2-3. We have wrapped up 7. The White Sox lead it by 4, 6-2 as we go to the 8th on the south side of Chicago. A Monday night, 2 AFC North Division rivals will collide at Heinz Field. Ray Lewis and the Ravens trying to slow down the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ray Lewis saying the other day he has yet to play his best football. Monday Night Football on ESPN at 8:30 Eastern Time. Oral Hershiser, Steve Phillips, Dave O'Brien with you on to the 8th inning. 6-2 White Sox. They must win the ball game to force a 1-game playoff for the AL Central Division title with the Minnesota Twins tomorrow. Scott Linebrink coming out of the bullpen. Tough sledding lately for him since coming off the disabled list. He had some shoulder inflammation. His ERA is 12.79 in 7 appearances since he came back off the DL. As Cabrera steps in and he takes strike 1. Cabrera with a double. He's also flied to center and grounded out to short. The American League's home run leader and home run king, it would appear, with just 37, which may have gotten you in the top 10 just a few years ago.
Well, we have the lowest home run rate this year going back to 1993, since 1993. So the numbers continue to go down. I think most people point to the fact that testing for performance enhancement drugs might be working.
Trying to hold up, he could not. The breaking ball, he wanted an appeal, but he's not going to get one from Mike DeMuro. Cabrera earlier in the game had asked for one from Tim McClellan. He pointed at McClellan himself. Not this time. DeMuro says no, and Cabrera strikes out. 1 gone.
We've seen some good breaking balls in this game. Gavin Floyd for the White Sox, and now take a look at that one. It looks like a low fastball and gets a big bite. Check swing, no.
Thames pops it up foul off into the seats. Marcus Thames 0 for 3 today.
Miguel Cabrera pointing down to first base. He must have had a lot of check swings where he feels like the umpire behind the plate called strike 3. He's like, look, just if everybody else can appeal, I want to appeal too. you can't. A lot of hitters look at it and say, how can you watch the pitch and watch the bat at the same time?
Not a bad point. Hammered foul. 0-2 on Thames.
Well, I think if the umpire calls it for a strike or the first base umpire says it was a swing, it's a good call.
You would think that.
Yeah, as an ex-pitcher.
Bobby Jenks starting to loosen in the pen. Big right-hander for Chicago. Rolled foul by Thames, who's hitting just .213 since the All-Star break.
Vasquez has been up down there. I think he's getting his side work in. He's in his practice jersey and his sleeve. I don't think that's anything to do with coming into this game. He's just getting a little workout in, his side work before his possible next start in the playoffs.
He got him. He struck him out swinging. Back-to-back Ks. Linebrink coming on throwing nothing but strikes to get the first 2 hitters. 2 down.
And we talked about earlier, Detroit Tiger hitters are going to look for the fastball, and the breaking ball is the one that's getting them out.
Division series upcoming. All games on TBS and ESPN radio. These are Wednesdays 3 games and Thursdays 3. White Sox and the Twins both hope they will be included. Only one can against the Rays. Tampa Bay winners in the American League East. They await their foe. Rayburn cuts and misses for a strike. It's 1-1.
But if Linebrink gives them a good inning right here, this is a big outing for the Chicago White Sox. I mean, they need that bridge to get to Bobby Jenks, and they've been struggling to try to find the guy. Dotel has been bitten at times by the home run bug. You see Linebrink's numbers. He has struggled since coming off the DL. If they can get one more guy at least to go with Matt Thornton, they've got a pretty good pen going.
He's looked very sharp despite those numbers since coming off the DL. Looked very sharp here tonight. He's trying to strike out the side in the 8th. Into the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Take your hat off to Ozzie here, Ozzie Guillen, because he's running him out there in a crucial game, but he knows if they move on, they need more pieces. He's come off the DL. I've got to get this guy some innings. I've got to find that bridge, and I know what he's done lately, but I know what he's done in the past, and if he needs innings to be that effective, we're going to have to run him out there.
Full count, 3-2.
That's one of those decisions that fans don't always appreciate. General managers do, the team does, the manager understands he's got to do something that might not look right, but he's got to build for now and for the future.
In John Deck. 2 away in the 8th. Poked foul as Rayburn hangs in.
What it did, it gave Octavio Dotel an outing where he walks away and he feels good about himself. Now you get Linebrink. If he gets through this, he feels good about himself. And you've now got between Thornton and Dotel and Linebrink 3 guys who really had good outings to get to your closer. It sets you up to be right for a big game tomorrow.
The payoff pitch to Rayburn. Up the middle. That's going to get through for a base hit. Rayburn's second single of this contest, and he reaches base for the 3rd time. He also got on in the 6th inning, and a big throwing error by Floyd that brought in a run.
You made a great point about the Chicago White Sox bullpen, because when you have to go to 5 and 6 pitchers to get through a game, one of them is probably going to have a bad day. It's one thing to have a starter, a setup guy, and a closer to get your win. It's another thing to have a starter and have to run 4 or 5 guys out there to get to the 9th.
Well, the New York Mets lived that for the entire second half of the season, and it cost them.
Inge looks at a strike. You saw Clayton Richard, the left-hander, joining Jenks in the bullpen. Inge with an RBI double back in the 5th inning. He's also walked and struck out. A 1-strike pitch. That finds the mark. Linebrink ahead, 2 strikes on a number 7 hitter.
I'm a little surprised they're holding the runner on at first. I'm looking for outs. I don't care about stolen bases.
1-2. And Konerko still holding Rayburn there with 2 away.
You've got a 4-run lead. You've got 2 outs. Let them steal. Let them do what they want. He can go all the way over to 3rd base if you want. I'm just looking for outs.
Linebrink trying to strike out the side. Leaves it low, 2-2.
I'd go so far as to tell my pitcher, you want to pitch from the windup, you go ahead and pitch from the windup. In the '88 World Series, I had a 4-run lead at the end, and I got a man on first. I pitched from the lineup. The guy ran all the way to third base. I said, I don't care. Let's go. We got 3-4 outs to go. We're going to just get people out.
You were pretty cocky, though. 2-2. Got him. Liebrecht, fans, Cabrera, Thames, and Inge. Forgot all about that guy at first. Didn't even matter. White Sox 6. Tigers 2. Ozzie and company closing in on a showdown with the Twins. Could be the face of victory right there. A thrilled, exuberant response. Alexei Ramirez with a grand slam in the 6th inning. And this place went ballistic. That opened up a 6-2 lead against Jim Leyland and the Tigers. Curtain call later. Ramirez, the toast of the town. Still work to be done for the White Sox, but a victory for Chicago and for Alexei Ramirez. And they must play the Minnesota Twins tomorrow. A 1-game playoff for the AL Central title right here.
Pound for pound might be the most power in the ballpark. Whippy, lanky, some quick hands.
Well, in the discussion for Rookie of the Year in the American League, likely to go to Evan Longoria, who's been spectacular for Tampa Bay, but Ramirez is in the photo. Here's Konerko to lead off the 8th inning as he pops this one up into left center. Konerko 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. One away in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, that grand slam kind of took the wind out of the sails of the Detroit Tigers. I mean, they had gotten into the competition and were battling, but that home run just seemed to electrify the fans here in the ballpark and completely deflate that Tiger dugout.
And it's one thing to do something in the midst of moment by moment baseball. It's another thing to try and build something as a team when the game doesn't really mean much to you.
Aquilino Lopez coming out of the bullpen for Detroit. Last 5 outings he's posted a 1.29 ERA, so he's been very tough to hit. Anderson came on for Ken Griffey Jr. defensively a couple of innings ago. Ramirez now joining Jenks in the bullpen. So plenty of activity out there for Ozzie Guillen as he lines up the 9th inning. Guillen and the White Sox need to get 3 outs. And then make plans for Minnesota tomorrow afternoon right here. Tomorrow night, I should say. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. And that one on the inside corner for a strike. Anderson is first at bat in this one. Going to be 7:30 Eastern time for that 1-game playoff for the AL Central. That's on TBS and ESPN radio, should it be played.
Some clutch performances today by the Chicago White Sox. Gavin Floyd did on the mound as the starter. The bullpen coming through. Matt Thornton, Octavio Gotel, Scott Linebrink, then the big grand slam, and the veterans in front of Ramirez that passed the baton. Ken Griffey coming in lefty on lefty, getting the walk to set that grand slam up.
There were 4 walks and 3 wild pitches in that inning. Anderson, did he check? He did, says Tim McClellan.
In some ways, that was the inning that we were looking for the White Sox to build all night, when they really would just take the flaws of what the Tigers were doing wrong and allow those to work against them. Take the walks, look for the wild pitch, advance the runners, have some good at-bats where you work the count and fatigue the pitcher. And finally, they did.
Remember the 5th inning, they saw 7 pitches before they were retired. In the 3rd inning, they saw 6 pitches. I mean, they just weren't patient, but finally the patience came around. The middle of the lineup, the veteran hitters worked the count, and it paid off.
Fastball on the inside corner, got him. Anderson thought that had missed. Instead, he strikes out, 2 away. And here comes Alexei Ramirez, and listen to the hand for him. was his 21st home run of the season, but his 4th grand slam, a major league record. As he slices one foul back for strike one. They're going to see this many times here in Chicago.
Well, they were looking for a double play ball. He got a fastball up in the zone, something he could drive. Gary Glover at that point had been 21 for 41. Opponents with bases loaded had been 21 for 41 against him with the bases loaded. The worst opponent's batting average of any pitcher with the bases loaded. Now it's 22 for 42.
The game was tied 2-2 at the time. Fouled away again by Ramirez.
So they signed Alexei Ramirez, defected, and had become available as a free agent after they lost out on Torrey Hunter. They had looked at some of the free agents, didn't get them. So they almost settled for him as the alternative, as kind of a plan B or plan C when they didn't get the primary pursuits in the offseason.
0-2 is into the dirt. He's certainly one of the serious candidates for Rookie of the Year in the American League. 27 homers by Longoria. That despite the injury, 85 runs batted in. And Longoria, a real leader in that Tampa Bay clubhouse. And they won their division in the greatest story in baseball this season. Tampa Bay going from the worst team to certainly one of the best and a division champion. A little ground ball gets by the mound. Santiago tried to barehand. It'll be a base hit for Ramirez. Well, he can do no wrong here today and tonight. An infield single.
A little check swing grounder, and you think a guy hits a grand slam to possibly take his team to the 163rd game, that he might be disappointed, but he busted it out of the box, and knowing his speed made him rush at shortstop, and that's why he gets the base hit. Look at him right out of there. Look at first step. I'm going to smell a hit right away. Very nice job, young man.
5 tools.
Concentration, passion, and a smile. He's got the 6th tool with the smile.
He does. He's got the charisma as well. But, you know, we've seen the power, the speed. He has arm strength. He's going to be the shortstop for this organization in the future because he has all those tools as well to be able to field and throw.
Now he's playing second base right now. He was in center field for the Cuban national team in the last World Baseball Classic, the inaugural one 2 years ago. A.J. Przinsky has doubled, popped up, and struck out here at U.S. Cellular Field today. 6-2 Chicago. And again, if you're just joining us, the White Sox must win to force, as Oral said, game number 163. A one-game playoff for the AL Central Division title with Minnesota here tomorrow night.
When I was general manager for the Mets in 1999, we had a similar situation. The final day, we had to wait for the Cincinnati Reds and the Brewers to play. The Reds won, so we had to fly to Cincinnati for that 163rd game of the season. Al Leiter threw a gem.
Well, Steve, I got a question for you. We got a 4-run lead, and we got Jenks warming up, and he pitched yesterday. And you got Minnesota in here tomorrow, probably, if you get through this next inning. Do you pitch him tonight, or do you save him for 2 innings tomorrow?
You know what? I pitch him tonight because I'm not confident in the rest of that bullpen. I need this game.
Even with a 4-run lead, do you try and squeak through and then maybe let him pitch with first and second?
I do not want to open the door. I do not want to open the door for the Detroit Tigers to get through, because I don't know who else I have to stop the bleeding, and they can get away from it quickly.
Runner goes. The throw is not going to get Alexei Ramirez, as he has a theft of second. Stolen base to get into scoring territory here.
What about at this run scores? Everybody's got a price.
You know what? Here's the thing. I think you're building for something. You got Thornton, Dotel, Linebrink. I can't keep Linebrink in the game, and I'm not going to trust Horatio Ramirez to come in with a game. I don't care if it's a 5-run game. I don't want to do it. If I'm getting Jenks warmed up, I'm bringing him in. I'm not going to get him up. I'm not going to get him up and sit him down and then get him up again and bring him in if somebody's in trouble. I think that's more taxing. And if you're going to do that, then I'm bringing him in to start with.
I'm a little more of a gambler, I think. I would see if I could squeak. Yeah, if I could squeak through this. You know, I'm a 3-2 curveball guy. If I could squeak through this, I might think about bringing somebody else in with a 4 or 5-run lead. And I got Bobby in my pocket for 2 innings tomorrow.
And I'll be firing you tomorrow.
Line shot. That's going to be a fair ball down the line. Ramirez will romp around third. He is in to score. That'll make it 7-2 White Sox. Where's your argument now?
4 runs is my cutoff, and I think I would still do it. If it's a normal save situation, I'm thinking about trying to squeak in another pitcher.
Yeah, Brzezinski with his 60th run batted in to chase in Ramirez.
If Jim Leyland does it, you don't question it. If Ozzie Guillen does it, you might.
You know what it is? Jim Leyland said you can't be afraid to lose a game because you need to win one tomorrow. But if you lose this game, tomorrow doesn't mean anything to you. I'm not taking that chance.
DJ Carrasco is now up in that bullpen, so he starts to warm up.
There goes my opportunity to ever manage in the big leagues if Steve gets a GM job someday.
No, just come around to my way of thinking.
He's already fired. There'll be the phone right down in the dugout.
Uribe 0 for 3. By the way, some interesting weather possibly for this matchup. Should it occur, Blackburn against Danks, the Twins against the White Sox. And that is the 1-game playoff probable starters. Lows will be in the upper 40s here in Chicago. Winds are going to be 15 to 20. There is a 30% chance of rain.
Sounds like a low-scoring game to me.
Now, one thing to remember, the series against the Rays starts on Thursday. So you'll have Wednesday as an off day to rest your bullpen and keep them fresh to start that series.
Maybe you go Jenks for 3 innings then tomorrow.
1-2 check swing foul. Giving him a lot of options to think about.
I appreciate the options, but
Jenks has been warming up quite a bit out there.
He's built like Mr. Incredible, isn't he? The animated movie.
Yes, sure is. Not sure if that's a compliment.
I mean that in the best way possible.
Jenks is 6'3", 275. Down into the dirt, and another one that gets by Ryan. Boy, he's had a very active day. Another pitch down low. It scoots on by him. Another wild pitch. That is 4 in the game that Leyland has had to look at from his pitching staff.
A tough day for Dusty Ryan back there.
There's your decision possibly coming down.
Yep, Don Cooper on the phone.
I think he said he wants pepperoni on the pizza.
Hop foul back out of play. Uribe still in there. We are in the last half of the 8th inning. A run in for the White Sox. They lead it 7-2. The Minnesota Twins are trying to figure out whether to come here to Chicago. They've got to be leaning that way right now heavily. Or to Florida to take on the Rays in the start of the division series. White Sox trying to force that 1-game playoff, which is, by the way, considered a regular season game. Those stats will count, should it happen tomorrow, toward the regular season for everybody involved. Brzezinski on at third with 2 away.
I played for the San Francisco Giants in 1998, and we played the 163rd game. We lost to the Cubs in Wrigley.
Little number. The second baseman Rayburn. He'll drop it. He dropped it. And here comes another run. 8-2. Chicago up by 6.
Okay, now you can sit down. I'm calling down there, sitting him down now.
Oh no, don't have Jenks up and not bring him in a game.
I feel better now.
Rayburn mishandling it. That leads directly to a run. Just a little glimpse, if you haven't been following the Tigers all year, why, with a loss here, they are going to finish in the basement, all by themselves, in the Central. Here's Cabrera with a big swing and a foul back. He has gone 0 for 3. Cabrera generating some controversy earlier this season when he talked about the managers he had really enjoyed playing for, and he said, well, Mike Scioscia is the best manager I ever played for. That didn't sit all that well with Ozzie Guillen.
Think it, don't say it. Think it, don't say it.
Terry Francona's wearing a couple of World Championship rings, and he managed him, in fact, to a World Series in Boston in 04.
Or wait till you retire before you start evaluating the managers you played for.
playing for a different manager next year.
Yeah, he is a free agent.
Free agent, and he's not going to be back. You know, and that's the thing is when you're a good player and you keep moving around from team to team, there's a story behind it.
1-2 the count.
You could say the same thing for Gary Sheffield. I mean, a guy's got 500 home runs, played for 7 different franchises at the major league level.
And an all-star with most of them.
Right. I mean, but, you know, there's just, to get the great talent, sometimes you have to take an abrasive personality. Orel bounced around quite a bit in his career as well.
I wasn't thinking of Orel and Terrell Owens in the same breath, actually. It wasn't going that way.
Who brought up T.O.?
Well, you know, we're talking about guys who are incredibly gifted athletes who have bounced around.
I'm a big T.O. fan. I don't have to be his teammate, but I love the way he plays.
Ken Williams hoping his team will live to play another day. It's looking more and more likely. Cabrera swings and misses for strike 3. That'll do it in the 8th. So it's on in the 9th inning. The White Sox with a big 8-2 lead. They are 3 outs away from forcing the playoff against the Twins. 9th inning in Chicago, 8-2 White Sox. Hits even at 6 apiece, but the big blow was the Alexei Ramirez grand slam in the 6th inning. Game was tied 2-2 when he swung at the very first pitch, and a 27-year-old rookie knocked it out of the ballpark. So certainly center stage in this one, but still 3 outs to get for Chicago. They're going to bring on DJ Carrasco out of the bullpen to get those.
Well, this is a situation where you don't have to go to Bobby Jenks. I don't think the discussion that Steve and I have has any merit now, because the lead that's out there with 8-2, this is time to use the rest of your bullpen and try to avoid Jenks.
Nick Swisher taking over at first. And first ball swinging, it's Dusty Ryan popping that one foul. Actually, it'll be Jeff Larish who will hit for him. So a pinch hit appearance here by Larish to lead off the 9th inning. As he slices it foul quickly. 0-2. Matt Joyce is on deck. So Leland is going to his bench here in the 9th. And then expected to see Curtis Granderson after that outside. 1-2.
I think it's going to be a very interesting offseason for the Detroit Tigers with all of the things they have to do. I suspect a new shortstop there next year. Edgar Renteria at the end of his deal and likely to move on. They've got to readdress their starting pitching. Where's Jeremy Bonderman going to be with his health? Is Freddie Garcia part of the solution? Can Dontrell Willis put it back together again? And how do they remake their bullpen? Todd Jones retiring, Zamaya hurt, Fernando Rodney struggling in that closer's role. They've got a lot of work to do. And if they do anything, it's got to be focusing on the pitching. Gary Sheffield's got a year left in his deal. I think they probably wouldn't mind moving him, but with the year that he had and his ability to block any deal, it's going to be difficult to do. They need more from Justin Verlander for sure next season.
Cut on and miss. Down he goes on strikes. Irish strikes out on the way in the 9th. The Tigers to a franchise record 3.2 million. A new single season attendance record. But the play on the field couldn't keep up with the appreciation in the stands.
I don't think Mike Ilitch, their owner, is going to back off. I think he is willing to still spend. And I think that will keep Jim Leland enthused, and there's going to be some action there. They're going to be courting some big-time free agents, I think, again.
Here's Joyce hitting .253 with a dozen homers and 33 runs batted in, batting in the 9 spot. Granderson on deck. We had a 3-hour rain delay, 3 hours and 4 minutes before this game could get started. Game 162. Which was rained out in mid-September. Playing it today, and the White Sox have an 8-2 lead. Turns out to be tremendously meaningful. If they secure this win, and they are 2 outs away, they will host Minnesota here tomorrow night, and the winner of that battle will be the Central Division champion. Down he goes on strikes. 2 up, 2 down. Carrasco fans the first 2 hitters here in the ninth.
Important inning for Carrasco just to get through with no blemish. Rest the rest of the bullpen. Jenks doesn't have to go down there and toil alongside him. And it gives them momentum with a clean ninth.
Granderson is 0 for 3. He is lined out to first, walked, struck out, and reached on an error. Popped him up into center. Anderson is there, and the White Sox will live to play another day. Tomorrow night, they face the Minnesota Twins in a 1-game do-or-die playoff for the American League Central Division title.
Well, and youth led them today. Gavin Floyd on the mound, a 25-year-old pitching on 3 days rest, the biggest outing of his life. Had one little blemish with a throwing area, but he threw the ball and mixed his pitches very well and got the win.
And we talked about power is the offense for the Chicago White Sox. Well, no bigger home run hit this year than the grand slam by 27-year-old rookie Alexei Ramirez. A first pitch fastball, he drove out of the ballpark. That was the difference in this game.
So Ozzie Guillen and company into the win column here. 8-2 the final. Trying to get back to postseason play. And they are 1 win away from doing that. Game 163 tomorrow against Minnesota. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Oral Hershiser, Steve Phillips, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Dave O'Brien as we say goodnight from Chicago. Now, let's go to Pam Ward in Detroit for the WNBA Eastern Conference Finals.